So I'm having some technical difficulties getting us on YouTube right now. See if I can figure it out.
Hi, Woody.
Hello, how are you doing, Jeff?
Fabulous.
Good to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're just going to take some time while Woody works on whatever's going on. There's some kind of weird thing going on in the universe right now. I can feel it.
Well, I would agree with that.
Miscommunications and weird crap going on. Just weird. I don't know what's weird. So, yeah, there's a lot of weird shit going on, boy, isn't there?
Indeed. Indeed.
Indeed.
Do something. Just might take a few minutes.
Hey.
It's fine. We're all fine. It's all good.
Look like you moved your phone or
Me?
not.
Oh, yeah, I'm using a
Because last time you had the
I'm
Okay.
using a webcam plugged into my laptop right now
okay.
and a headset so that you can see my, art, my disgusting, filthy art table, which is actually just an art table full of, art supplies, but it's not clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the way it is. I'm a total slob.
Oh,
Slob
wow.
artist.
My studio is pretty messed up, but there's been other people working in there besides me. And
Oh boy.
it's usually messy when I'm there.
Yeah, I did clean up a little bit earlier because my boyfriend gave me another table, so I had to clean up to get the table to come in. But it's still messy, but I don't care. This is just real art being made, Real art.
All right, so you're mixing up your brew for your paper.
Yeah, well, actually, what I'm gonna do today is I've got a new substrate that I made out of 4 pieces of cardboard, and now I have to cover it with, that fake paper mache, which is just like wood glue with water mixture on paper. So I don't know how far I'll get today. I'm doing this one today. This one is the sigil for self-ownership.
Nice.
This is the one that's really key regarding the jab, because it's like I own my body and I decide what goes in it and what goes on it. Which honestly,
It seems so fundamental.
Yeah, it does. But I mean, I'll be honest. I didn't realize that before when I first started listening to Casio and thinking about this stuff. It never occurred to me whether I own my body or not. Now it makes perfect sense to me, especially because I'm covered with tattoos. So you would think I would know that, but they've done a good job.
Your choice.
Doing the snowball thing.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, got a couple new people signed up for the Truth show.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yeah. Do you know Grimerica?
No. Who's that?
It's a podcast, and there's Grimerica Outlawed, and these are Canadian dudes. Let's see. Stephanie from Autonomy somehow ran into them and got me signed up for an interview. So I did an interview a couple weeks ago, and you can go to their free part. You can see a little bit of it. They kind of mixed it back together again. And I have not heard the whole interview, but I did pay them like $36 for 6 months, because they deserve it. So, so now I have access to it. I haven't listened to it yet. So we'll see.
Grammarica.
But this guy named Teese,
G-R-I.
Grimerica.
Interesting.
And then this guy Teese, Teace, somehow Stephanie found him, and then Stephanie got him hooked up to do an interview. And so he did one like 2 after mine. And I haven't listened to him, but he's got kind of a good, I think he's done 7 or 8 episodes, and he starts with, his favorite truth tellers, which would be Corbett and Richard Grove.
Sorry, the YouTube's not going to work today, unfortunately, because I got off and I called my wife to see if she could look at my iPad, which is at the house, to verify us, and the iPad is dead and I have the charger. So we'll have to just do it. We just won't be able to be live, I guess, tonight, because it's stupid. And then it's like other ways to verify. So it's like, verify your YouTube. And I'm like, okay. So it's like a message is sent to your iPad, open the YouTube app on your iPad and hit verify. And I was like, okay, so I don't have my iPad with me. And then it's like, then it gives you this option. It's like other ways to verify. And then you're like, okay, this is great. Other ways to verify. And then it's like, there's only one option for other ways to verify. And guess what it is? Send a message to my phone or tablet. And guess where it keeps sending the message? To my tablet, which I don't have. I have my phone here. It would send the message to my phone. We'd be fine. But
well, what about Twitch?
Thank you. Well, I might be able to go. I don't know how to do that, but
Okay.
I could.
No, it's just an idea. I mean, maybe it's a message that it's time to branch out from YouTube.
Yeah, well.
But it's okay. Whatever. It doesn't matter. We're just doing our thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I might be able to figure that out, but it's, that might be another 15, 20 minutes into it. I'd rather just do some art.
Fine. It's fine. You know what? It's fine.
We'll have our meeting.
I'm not really.
We can post it to YouTube still after, because I'm recording it allegedly.
Allegedly.
Well, because I had to sign out on my phone, and then for some reason when I signed back in, it like all of a sudden my computer's like converting to video file. I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't tell you to stop recording yet.
Yeah.
So I had to restart. So I had to restart the recording. But anyways, now that technical Murphy's Law crap's out of the way, we could probably get started if you want here. Let me go turn on my light so I can see what I'm doing.
Yeah, technology sucks, man. I wish we didn't have it, but we do. So.
Time-saving devices for sure.
Yeah, right. Yeah, time-saving. I mean, whatever. The good old days when we just met at a coffee shop and talked to each other.
Yeah, I think about the past, like how the hell, had a phone at home and that's it,
Oh, phone at home, and you'd listen to the messages when you got home later, or even before you even had that. I remember.
It was even before that.
Oh yes, I know. What did we do? Well, we were outside running around with other people.
Yeah.
Doing
Yes,
shit.
for sure. Yep, doing shit.
And we managed to do fine, didn't we? We did a lot better actually than we are doing now.
We did better. We could concentrate on the task at hand.
Damn right. Yeah, we could do that. We could. Yep. And
full distraction mode.
Yeah, we
so
did.
Apparently.
What?
So apparently now I know that I have to do a live stream of a couple hours ahead of time to make sure our account is verified. So
No, it sounds like it's on their end. Something's going on. Like, I mean, there's been so much weird communication shit for the last 24 hours. I'm sure that we could just
Yeah,
blame
they're
it
trying
on
to
Putin. I'm sure everybody would agree that it's his fault.
they're trying to verify that it's my account. Yeah, it's my account. Why do you think I'm signing in from the same device I always sign in from?
No, but you have a new phone though, right?
Yeah, I know, but that shouldn't matter because I was signing in from my computer to the YouTube thing. But anyways, let's do our meditation
Yes,
and we'll
let's meditate. Oh my God, please, let's connect with
Okay.
actual real. What is real? Are you gonna do it or do you want me to do it?
you can go ahead and do it.
Okay. All right, so I'm just gonna put my feet flat on the floor. I'm just gonna sit here and I'm gonna put I really like this meditation. It's very simple. I'm gonna put my hand on my heart and I'm gonna breathe in and out. I'm gonna breathe into my heart and I'm gonna breathe in like 6 seconds and then I'm gonna breathe out 7 seconds with the idea that I'm connecting my heart to my mind.
It's also always good to, when you're doing this, to think about thoughts of compassion and thoughts of gratitude. It helps bring that consciousness into the heart more.
And I'm just gonna ask now the universal power of the creator, of which I am a small mirror as an artist, to bless us with any information and help that we may need to be of maximum service to humanity during this time. That during this time, while we're talking about natural law and different things we're experiencing, that we open ourselves up to receiving divine inspiration. Because what we've always done is not going to get us out of this mess. We're going to need help from the universe. And so it is.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! Rock on, artists. Well, you know,
Thank you.
they claim that artists are going to get us out of this mess. So I'm like, okay, well, how the fuck am I going to do that if I don't get some divine inspiration? Excuse my French.
No.
No. I know I shouldn't cuss because, you know, kids could be watching, but whatever. I don't care. So I guess I'll reiterate. So this, I'm working on a new sigil tonight. This is the sigil right here.
You bring it a little closer. There we go.
Sigil is in the center.
A little higher. There you go. Oh, that's better.
Okay. And this is the sigil of self-ownership. So it says, I have an inalienable right to self-ownership, which means that I own my body and I get to decide what goes in my body and what goes on it. Imagine that.
That's so libertarian.
Yeah, whatever.
Just-
I mean, when I first heard that, I think when I first considered it, I was like, well, no, man, like God owns my body. But
Really?
Passio, yeah. Well, I mean, I thought, well, the creator owns my body. But Passio was like, don't think that way. That's like, for this lifetime, you're inhabiting your body and you own it. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Does.
But no, I mean, I was not taught this in school. It's not like I learned this anywhere. Where the hell was I going to learn this? I mean, just because I chose to put like a bunch of drugs and alcohol and psychedelics in my body at one time, I guess I knew that I owned my body at that time, but somehow, like any other self-ownership, somehow I didn't know. Because I thought at that time I was just being rebellious. But the reality is I own my body, so I can do with it whatever I want. And so, they have that law that it's illegal to kill yourself. Well, who the hell are you? That must be because, if you kill yourself, then you're like taking away one of the assets that they traded for that, financial.
Who gets punished for that? You're dead, right? So how do you get punished for killing yourself?
Well,
It's
if they
illegal.
catch you, then you'll go to the psych ward or whatever you'll be like, put in the psych ward.
Yeah.
And you can't get out till they say you can, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, that's probably because they've traded on our bodies as we're the asset, that the collateral that for the loan for that when we went bankrupt and whenever that was 1913 or whatever. So can't we, we're not allowed to kill ourselves because we're owned by someone else, they think. So,
we have to consume more things before we can actually die.
that's right. Got to consume more things and we got to produce more. We got to pay our way for the whatever, for that loan. I mean, that is true. We are the collateral.
Yeah, wasn't that issued with the Social Security number?
Correct. I believe that's correct.
Yeah.
So what are you doing, Woody, today? What's your artwork today?
I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. I'm trying to think of something to paint for problem solving, to represent problem solving.
Well, that's what we're going to talk about, problem solving today. That's the main
different ways of problem solving.
And I'm gonna just talk about something. I'm gonna talk about problems first, okay?
That's fine.
Because I
That's a good starting
I
point.
cannot believe, the psychopaths. I have been dealing with psychopaths now for a few days, like directly, and it's like I actually got to the point last night where I watched the Stefan Verstappen video to find out what he had to say, because he has a chapter in his book, the art of what's the book called, the art of the art of like living in the urban survival guide or whatever. That's his book called, well, there's two: how to deal with predators, and then the psychopath. And because when in this time that we're in, like we're trying to create, exit and build and create a new society, but we still have to deal with psychopaths. And we had to deal with one or several, actually, because we're doing this food co-op up here, and And we did. I felt that we jumped ahead too quickly because we didn't get together as a group and iron out our membership agreement. We just took a membership agreement from other co-ops, which means that the group did not agree to that, you know, really. But we're too impatient to sit down with each other and actually, you know, struggle it out. And then last night, we were on the Zoom call, and two people, one of whom I know personally, who I've known for 8 years and dealt with, got on the Zoom call, and the one person is definitely a psychopath. And I was like, oh my God, no way. No way. No, nope. Nope. Not going to be on here. And, but I mean, like, how do you deal with that? That's, I mean, how are we to deal with that? And Stefan Verstappen basically says, you can't, you've got to get away from them. I mean, he said you could either get a bigger psychopath to pound them, or you could, if you were united, this is the big if, because you never have a group of people that's united anymore. If you have a group of people that's united, then you can confront the psychopath. But they're so good at manipulating that you're probably not united. There's probably somebody in the group that feels sorry for them and wants them to be reformed or whatever. And the thing about the psychopath is that some of them, the one that I ran into last night is a person who likes to destroy things because she has nothing within herself. So what she does is she goes into a group situation where there's something going on that's potentially going to be really great, and then she destroys it by using her whatever, however she does it, you know. And
how did you know she was a psychopath?
Because I've been in groups with her where she has destroyed the group.
The past, okay.
She is destroyed. I've been in 2 groups with her, and we had like really good intentions, all of us, the rest of us who are not psychopaths. I mean, there might be other things wrong with us, but you know, we were all friends, and we wanted to accomplish acts of service together, you know, helping other people or whatever our thing was that we were doing. And this one person came into the group and just used the fact that we tried to be all inclusive of everyone to her advantage, to just basically come in and derail whatever we were doing, just by, you know, using our principles against us, basically by, you know, coming into the room and just, you know, playing silly games. Like you'd be starting to gel with an idea of something to do that was helpful or whatever, and she would just say, well, why are we doing this? Maybe we should do it this way, and just derail it, you know what I mean? So that you would never accomplish anything. And this is like, I mean, how to deal with these people, I don't know. And this is definitely a problem that the freedom movement is going to encounter if they haven't
That's
already.
problematic. I wish there was maybe there's some sort of like, you know, love training or something that these psychopaths could go through, you know. You know, the Army has some, you know, their trauma abuse training people go through when they do go through boot camp. Maybe there's like a love, like, and cuddling training or something to bring people out of that fear-based psychopathic tendency of having to like want to rule over everyone.
Well, you know, it's funny because I mean, you edited that video of his, so I mean, he says in there, don't even bother trying to reform the psychopath because they're not going to be reformed. Don't even bother trying to bring him to God or whatever ideas you have, because they're not going to do it. It's not going to happen.
They're pretty, yeah, if they're so calcified, it's going to be hard to like get them to turn that around.
Yeah, they don't want to. I mean, but you still have to deal with them because they're in society, you know. And so here we are. We're trying to create. We're innocently trying to race ahead to try to, create something so that, we have a food supply when, should things go to hell in a handbasket, which they likely will. And you have these people, or whatever they are, if they're human, I don't know, that just want to have the attention in that moment for their own purpose, and people somehow or another, the dumbed down people fall for it. They fall for the psychopath's desires and then get totally swept up in it, which is what we're in right now. We're in that right this second. This is it.
There needs to be a test.
Bend over and spread your cheeks.
Something, right?
Shove something up your buttons.
Yeah, I don't know. Some sort of like a questionnaire, that we can diagnose these psychopaths. Because here, there's 3 main steps to solving problems. The first step is recognizing that there is a problem, because a lot of people have fear-based denial, and this must be dealt with in order to even accept that a problem exists, and then once you recognize the problem, you have to find out what the symptoms, or what's the main causal problem, because if you just treat the symptoms, then that's not really getting to the root of the problem, because the problem's still there, so you have to really diagnose the cause of the problem, and then after that, you have the action that's required to rectify these causal factors, and so that could be any number of things. With these psychopaths, maybe the problem actually comes from their childhood and the way that they were entrained as a child. And maybe it was through traumatic experiences, or maybe it was just through the fact that, hey, look, this is, the way capitalism is set up, it's a pretty dog eat dog system. So unless you are ruthless and go to the top, then that's kind of why I feel like psychopaths tend to have success in the system, because they're willing to do things that others aren't willing to do, because they may or may not be immoral acts. They're more like, these psychopaths are more likely to do immoral acts, and I think that a solution to that would be catching it early before it gets calcified into their personality. But the tricky thing is some of this entrainment comes from the parents themselves. So
but let me just throw this out at you. Okay. That chick, okay, there's the film on Netflix about Anna, what's her name, who was who's a psychopath that came to New York City and fooled the New York elite into believing that she was a German heiress. And the journalist who wrote on the article about her that ended up being the screenplay went to Germany to meet her parents, and they were like regular people, and they were just like, she's always been different, and we had to cut her out of our lives because she was so dangerous. Like, she was born that way. It seemed like they didn't seem like they were particularly bad people, parents.
Yeah, but you don't know. Maybe they didn't seem bad, but maybe they were really strict or something, and that caused trauma within the girl's life. And
maybe, or maybe not. Like, I don't know that
maybe it was something that happened outside of her home life too. Maybe it was.
What about the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds and all them? They're not like, they're just plain old psychopaths. They're not, they didn't have trauma. They're just reptilian or whatever.
Well, I think part of that is just the way they were trained, the way the family trains you to do. If you're a malevolent if your family's malevolent, you're going to train your kids in the same malevolent ways, you know?
Right, but I don't think that what Stefan was saying is rehabilitation is not, we're not going to do it. We have to do the dirty work of saying, this is a problem. Like, look, take, for example, this is a great example. I think, actually, Jeff might enjoy hearing this. When we were at Pork Fest, there was this guy that was messing around with Richard's kid. And, Richard's kid is like 7 or something like that. This guy was like being really weird with him, and he was completely drunk.
Oh, wow.
And but he was drunk in a way, he was like obviously in a blackout, because he wasn't acting drunk really, he just wouldn't leave. And Richard went up to the guy and literally just put his finger on the guy's chest like this.
I gave him the finger.
And I just put his finger on his chest, and he just told him, whispered to him that he needed to leave. And the guy did not leave immediately, but Richard never raised his voice and never got violent with the guy. And eventually what happened was that they called security. They were right at the edge of calling the cops. Security came, and they videotaped the guy. They asked him if he would do everything again that he had done, and the guy said he would. And so they said, well, we have you on tape now, so we're going to have to tell this to the police. And then he left. He finally left. But it was amazing to watch that. I'm telling you, it was like, I sat there glued to it, because I was like, wow, look at Richard, like really walking his talk right now. He was dealing with this person who is probably like benign when he's sober, but he was definitely hosting some other spirit. And he handled it so well. I'm like, this has got to be one of the ways that you handle a psychopath in your midst, is you just somehow quietly tell them to go away. But Richard has, he had everyone's agreement, because everyone so admires him and everything.
Yeah.
So it has to do with building trust in the community first, and then I don't know. I honestly, I'm at a loss with this whole thing, but I know that we're going to have to deal with it. And we didn't want to call the cops, obviously, because, why do you want to call daddy? We have to be our own inner monarchy in the truth movement, and be able to handle our problems ourselves. Otherwise, we're just, we're not telling the truth here.
Right.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, in some ways, I find it hard to believe that a human being is born either evil or not evil, loving. I feel like it's like the environment that they're raised in which helps determine that. Because, yeah, I mean, raising kids, I see that, like, yeah, sometimes my kids are like violent, but sometimes they're like really sweet and like helpful too, like they get it, but I feel like usually when they're violent, it's usually because there's something bothering them. Maybe it's another kid's bothering them, whatever, however that might work. But there are situations where the kid will just for no reason start maybe doing some violent thing. And I think that kids just want to test the boundaries of what they can and can't get away with, and if you, as a parent, if you help, direct that by using the right kind of discipline when they are acting in a way that's violent, for a reason that isn't self-defense, then that's what's going to help determine later on in life, after they pass their formative years, whether they're going to be, lean towards being more malevolent versus benevolent. So, so I mean, we all have like our survival tendencies, which could be translated into like maybe violent kind of tendencies. I think it's just the way, how is that modeled for children, and how is that, you know.
So wait, so let's get back to problem solving for a second. Let me just ask you. So you're
Well, I'm
saying
just
that,
saying that.
so you're basically saying in response to my problem, which is having a psychopath in our midst, our solution is going to be to find out what happened to them in their childhood.
Not necessarily, but that, you know, I think the solution it would be to catch it before they're fully a psychopath. If there's a way to like figure it out sooner, then, you know, later, then it's going to be less calcified into their
Okay,
being.
That's
But like the current problem of there being psychopaths, I was just going down to the root, is probably comes from the parents or the environment this child grew up in, and now that they're fully grown, that's why they're having these tendencies. So I'm thinking the root may be with the kids. So, you know, a lot of this stuff is like, what are we doing with our kids? How are we training our kids? You know, if we really want to have a better future, then it's our kids are going to be the ones that are going to help bring that better future into manifestation by the way they conduct themselves. You know, it might be too late for some of these older people, but maybe it's not. Maybe there is some sort of like, maybe there could be some sort of a retreat. I know Stefan, he's pretty pessimistic about there not being any way to stop those psychopathic tendencies, but maybe there is.
I've known this woman for 8 years, and I'm done. I will never work with her ever again, ever. I don't care.
Yeah.
Unless she, you know, goes away and comes back and it's different. But she's not. She's doing fine. She's happily doing what she's doing without anybody catching on. Except I know her, and also my friend fortunately also had a horrible experience with her too. So, but here's what we did was we prayed about it. This is what's crazy. We prayed about it, and then I found out today she may be moving to the Western Slope. But I'm like, yahoo! But that doesn't mean we've solved the problem. We've just solved this one problem, but we still have to somehow unify our group in such a way that we are a united front against this sort of problem in the future. You know what I mean? And right now what I'm seeing is that we're not united at all. We're not. We just want, we're still in the My Freedom movement. We're still like, we just want our food co-op so that we can get ours. That's it. We don't really want to get into the nitty gritty of anything. We don't want to take too much time away from what we want to be doing. And you know what I'm saying? It's like, we're not gonna, I don't know. We'll see what happens, but
I get pretty happy when I know people and they have a child together, and I know these people and they're like really wonderful humans, and it's like, okay, there's hope. Myself and my neighbor judged what are called gifted artists that are in D60 and D70, which are the school districts in the area. And this girl, she was in 8th grade. She made me cry. I mean, she was just an incredible, glowing human being. Her art was really good. And she also, I don't know if she acts or sings or whatever, but she does performance also. And I was just like, holy cow, there's hope for the human race, you know. And then there was another girl, and she was a senior in high school, and she was just really, really good artist. Both of them could speak really well. I mean, they could, just it was really a good day. Spend the whole day there, going through this process. But
Was this recently?
yeah, it was about 2 weeks ago.
Oh, neat. That
Yeah,
is nice to see
it
that.
was really nice. I mean, out of the six people that we graded their work, five of them were really good, and this one, she was not gifted in any way, and she wasn't. You could tell she really wasn't even into it. And then when there's an interview, they talk about their art specifically. They talk about kind of their past and their future and where they want to go. And she wants to get in the FBI. And I'm going like, well, it might not be what you think it is. I didn't want to bring her down too
Are you a
hard.
psychopath? Are you a psychopath? Well, you'll fit in really well if you're a psychopath. But if you're not, well, you might not fit in very well.
I couldn't smell any psychopathy on her, but anyway, she's just not gifted.
That's one of the problems, though, is people go into a field like that for good reasons, and then they go to police academy, right? It's basically boot camp
or military,
for
sure.
police.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so when you go through the police academy, that's the trauma abuse training that turns you into a psychopath.
Probably.
And
I
so
don't know.
that's the part of the problem is like that, you go through that entrainment, then you're not the same idealist, young person that came in, that kind of gets beaten out of you.
I want to defend my country's freedom. Whatever.
By
by killing other people.
But that's just an example. Here's this artist that's really bright, has a really sweet personality, really sweet person, and they're thinking good. They're like, hey, I want to help the world by, joining the FBI. But what
getting
they
the
don't
criminals,
realize is that actually, once you go through their training, you're not the same, loving, sweet individual when you come to the other side of that training in those police academies or in the military boot camp.
And you do what you're told.
Oh, I know.
Yep.
Listen, I was talking to my boyfriend about this yesterday because I accidentally demanded that he do something and it triggered him because he was in the military, and yeah, I said it took me like a week to figure out why you got so upset when I didn't say, please do this. But then I realized it was because of the military, because he said, yeah, well, they owned me for 2 years and no one will ever own me again. And so basically how he dealt with that obviously was, he would bottle it up and go, take it out on other people that he was assigned to annihilate, or go drinking later.
Yeah.
So that's our military. I'm sure he's just like the average, what happens to people when they're put in that position, when they put themselves in that position, but they have no fucking idea what kind of position they're putting themselves in.
No, they didn't really think it through.
Well, yeah, or they didn't have, like, I know his parents were like, no, but he just wanted to get away from his parents. And he didn't want to work, he just wanted to go somewhere and do something. And he did. He did travel all of Europe and everything, but the price he had to pay for that was, join
the military will make you a man.
Whatever. I'll make you something.
I know a guy, and he had a story. He was went to Vietnam and stuff, and he had a story for me that was really touching. He went through some traumatic stuff while I was over there. He got his best friend stepped on a landmine 5 feet away from him and completely blown up. He got hit with a bunch of shrapnel, and he still has shrapnel in his body to this day. But he said that when he got back from all that, it took him, he said it probably took him like 2 or 3 years to train himself how to have human feelings again, like love. Like he said he had to like literally like see like people, and he had to like literally retrain himself how to love again, because he was incapable of doing that. And like, he said it took him a long time, and he's like, most people that have what happened to me never do what I did to retrain themselves how to love again. And because he's like, it wasn't easy. I had to uncover some dark things about myself, but like, it was just kind of, to me, that's just a testament of how messed up people come out of those traumatic experiences, and
The human breaker, just break humans. Yeah.
I mean, so it's like, I hope that young lady changes her mind and realizes that she might do better off helping the world in a different way than joining the FBI.
Well, I invited her to the gallery. She was here kind of in the first year that we opened, and I had a group show, and there was like 90 pieces of art in the small gallery. It was crowded in there, and she described it. So I know that she was here with her mother. Nice. But she didn't know where it was, and she's not from this part of Pueblo. I think she's from Pueblo West, which is basically the suburbs. Mm-hmm. And I asked her to come back. I gave her my card, and I want to have a talk with her. I don't want to get in trouble with her parents, but I just love to talk to her, because I mean, she just really, really touched me. I mean, she's serious artist making good work.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
But yeah, it's so inspiring to see, stuff like that in children or in the youth, just, because it does give glimmers of hope,
Mm-hmm.
But one of the problems is they, for good reasons, like I said, they might join the army for what they think are good reasons, but it's almost like the way that's marketed to people makes them think they're doing it for good, when really it's just to turn them into an order follower, so that the psychopaths who are in charge can have muscle, flex strength if they're not getting their way. And that's been happening over and over again in humanity's history for, since history began. Basically, it's just like someone becomes really powerful, and they force other people to do what they want.
Well, it's crazy, because I was just this thing with Ukraine right now, right? People are saying Putin is a bad guy, right? I'm like, well, what about all the guys he's telling to do this? They're the ones carrying out his wishes. Sure. They're the ones who are immoral, and he's just a puppet for the World Economic Forum. I mean, he's just carrying out, his orders too,
Yeah, I remember you saying that last week, that he was in Davos, so.
Oh yeah. He's one of the, he's just another puppet. I mean, they have a thing where they like to keep certain, like Russia and China are the bad guys forever, right? Mm-hmm. And I mean, China, we thought China was our, workforce for a while there, but obviously they were just going to take away our workforce eventually. Mm-hmm. But I mean, that was just part of the plan. That was part of the larger plan. And so these leaders just have to play the role of the bad guy. That's all. But they're getting their $1 billion and their, pedophile needs mad or whatever. And that's how it rolls.
Well, and regarding the military, it's just a multi-generational thing too. It's like, my granddad was he was in the army, and my dad was in the army, and my uncle was in the army, and I joined the army too, because that's what we do.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's another thing that's just like, and that goes back to like being like from a kid. It's like they're raised in that environment. I was raised with hippie parents. My dad was a conscientious objector in the
Good.
60s. And so of course I wasn't like on a fast track to the military because my family had strong views against joining authority, you know,
Yeah.
not maybe for the same reasons that I understand now, but like, I'm glad that was my experience because I was, in some ways it was good that I was raised in a way that I'm a peaceful person, but in some ways, like man, maybe if I was a little bit more ruthless and cutthroat, I'd have more success.
Oh yeah, for sure. I would too. I'm totally non-competitive, you know, but I wasn't raised by calm hippies though.
So
That's just my nature. I'm just not competitive. So
Yeah, my dad manipulated us against ourselves. I was the oldest, I had two brothers and a sister who's 10 years younger than me. And yeah, he created some competition between us for sure.
oh, I'm sure, right? Because they thought that was healthy to have.
Yes, it was okay.
Well, anyway, back to the topic, which is problem solving. We can find a much easier problem to solve than what to do about a psychopath. I know it's like an unsolvable problem. I shouldn't even have brought it up, but I just needed to vent.
no, I think it's solvable, but I think it's like it's not going to be solved quickly. And I think part of it does come with the way people are brought up in this world. And I think, some of it, maybe if you're a psychiatrist, maybe you would know of a protocol that you could take a person like this through. But some of the problem with that is the person has to accept the fact that they have to realize that they're doing psychopathic things before they can even,
Yeah, well, that's not the
before they
case though.
can think because otherwise they don't think there's a problem. They're just doing what they
Exactly.
do.
That's right. Well,
And
that's
so
my
until
point.
they understand that what they're doing is a problem, they're not going to stop doing it.
But
And
what do
even
the other
even
people do?
sometimes,
The other
well, I don't know,
people,
maybe
that's the point. Like we can't,
maybe
we're not, I'm not going to sit around and try and I have known this particular person for 8 years in a sort of a spiritual setting in which we were all trying to get weller together, but she doesn't want to get well. She just wanted to get hers. And that's what she did every time with every situation. So, you know, I'm not going to me, the way to unfortunately, the way to deal with that is to not cater to them, not make it easy for them to get away with their shit. And therefore, you know, um,
or maybe or maybe if there's a way that if everyone, and like let's say you're a group of people that's trying to do something, maybe there's a way that that if the project fails, for instance, maybe there's a way that you can make it blatantly obvious that it's the psychopathics actions that caused the project to fail. And that might, maybe they would recognize, oh, wait a minute, it's because of me that this thing didn't work
no
out.
way, fucking no way, man. Because they're going to get theirs one way or the other. I mean, look,
So,
that's the whole thing about it. I mean, it is pretty ruthless. It's a pretty ruthless problem that, I mean, this is, harkens back to where Passio would say, he said something like about how, just don't delude yourself into thinking that other people aren't this way just because you're not this way. We
Right.
have to accept that it's very self-centered, and this is kind of what the left people are doing in a way. is they believe that everyone should think the way that they think. And even if they have to force them into thinking that way. And no, I mean, I have to accept that there are people who are psychopaths on this earth. And maybe I can't help them except by, not making it easy for them to do their routine on me. And
The
that
problem with
go ahead.
the problem with that for me is I don't really cherish confrontation very much,
Yeah.
and that's what it requires.
Yeah.
Yes, there definitely a confrontation would be required.
Well, actually, no. You know what I
Yeah.
did last year when I was in a place last year. We went to Idaho. All of us went to Idaho, and this person showed up unexpectedly, and I just was like, well, oh well. All my plans are over. I'm not going to try to do my plans. And so every time she came into the room, I just got up and left the room, which, could be called flight, not fight, but flight. It was fight or flight.
Kind of
That
a
was my
passive
only,
aggressive sort of thing.
sure. But it was better than what I had ever tried before, which was, just trying to duke it out with her.
Sure.
Never works. Never. Because then her whole thing was just to create a fight. That's all she ever wanted to do, was to create a huge distraction and chaos. She likes chaos. So she would just create chaos. So, I knew that when they showed up that we weren't going to unfortunately get done anything that we had hoped to get done, because they were there and that's what her goal is to do. And so I just refused to participate in it this time. And she has
So,
it
I
out
mean,
for me. She has it out specifically for me because I happen to be strong. So, it's an unfortunate thing that it's just a weird problem, that I think that,
are there specific things that she's done that has like caused this chaos to unleash that you could point out?
right this second.
Well, I don't know. I just figure that would be, if when you recognize these things where she's starting to cause the chaos so nothing gets accomplished, then maybe there's a way you can catch her at her
Well,
game.
actually she did. What
It
was
would be
amazing,
confrontational. So
well, what's actually amazing is that apparently this morning she her true colors did come out, because she called the head of the co-op and said, I want to know how I can get the cheap food without doing any work. And we were like, sorry, that's not what we're doing here. This is a co-op. This is a co-op, not a free food feed.
this is not a food bank. This is a co-op.
Yeah, this is a co-op. So yeah, you're not.
So yeah, that's
So that
almost an
was cool.
example of her sticking her own foot in her mouth, and so she's
blew it.
But starting to.
The person that brought her in is pissed off now at us for standing our ground in what originally a co-op actually is. You see, that's where
I mean,
is we're dealing with these untreated survivors of trauma who, have these people as their friends, and so it's just a, I don't know what the bottom line.
I mean, I don't think you're going to solve it without any conflict, but I'm just like, if we're talking about solving problems, I'm just trying to get to, if you can diagnose it, and if the lady's a problem, maybe it's like, maybe the group needs to cook both of those people out of the community. I mean, because if they're going to just destroy the community, it's like, oh, this one person maybe isn't a psychopath, but if they're going to get mad because you're, saying the other person is just doing things, wants to get food for not doing any of the work, then it's like, maybe they both need to go.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's amazing though. Yeah, I mean, it kind of solved itself. That was what was cool about it. It actually did kind of solve itself because the true colors came out. But this unfortunate thing was that the person who brought them in couldn't see it, and she was really pissed off. And so you're right. They may both have to go, and we have to be kind of open to that. We have to be okay with trusting of the universe that we will, that other people will show up who are willing to work.
And the other thing is if you have enough people around you too that are in the community already that have like a understanding of morality and a decent to good moral compass, then they're going to recognize, hey, look, this person's just trying to take advantage and they want to just get a free handouts and they want to be part of the community so they can get free food, but they don't want to do any of the work. So that's like it working itself out. But that means that you have some other people in that community that are sharp. They know what's up. They're not going to just let someone come in here and have a free ride. And so that's a good thing. That's how you get rid of the psychopaths from these communities, is by the rest of the good people in the community coming together and being like, hey, look, this person's causing problems. We can't have this person in our community anymore.
Right, because it's by them being kicked out of the community that they might actually try to look at themselves. That's the only way that, like, only when they're cold and hungry is when they're going to start looking.
Exactly. So, I mean, it sounds harsh, but that's kind of like how it has to work, I think.
In the military,
and that's just using, all that really is it's using self-defense for the community. Hey, look, we're trying to build something positive here. We don't want people taking advantage of that, exploiting this positive thing we're trying to start.
Well, in the military, they would handle it. They would give the person a blanket party. You ever heard of that?
No.
So, in the military, they're all sleeping in their, I don't know what you call that, where all the beds are
barracks, bunks, whatever.
Yeah. So they would each guy that really, really disliked this person because this person was an asshole and was kind of not part of the community or the team. So they would throw blankets over it, and then they would all take their shots and they would just start pounding the guy. And then the guy wouldn't know who did it. And then he would modify his behavior. So
wow, that's
good. I'm not advocating violence,
dude,
but you could do something like that. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. I was thinking guns and rat poison. That's where I was at earlier today. I'm thinking I need a gun and some rat poison. I'm just kidding.
No.
Is she really?
Yeah, I know. She really doesn't like
I know.
I
figured I was like, you better not say this on the air, because like if something happens to her, people are going to come after you, Joanna. but that it is a form of self-defense, in a way. When they're practicing psychological warfare on you, you have the right to defend yourself in whatever way to keep what you've worked for, because they will come and steal it. I mean, this is what happens in this over and over. It has happened. We've witnessed it. So
nothing worse than a psychopathic thief.
oh my God. No. Con artists. I mean, he goes over them all in the video, in his book. He goes over all the different types, like the malevolent psychopath, the victim, the narcissist, the con artist. And he says some of the con artists are not psychopaths, they're just con artists. But most con artists, because they don't have a conscience, so they can, give the little old lady the wrong change back. It's horrible. What a horrible thing.
It is.
That's so terrible. I just, God.
I just say people.
It's crazy shit. So, but yes, I would go back to what problem solving. So the trivium, you gather your data, what you observe what's going on. You notice that this person never really wants to work with anyone. Whenever you're right on the brink of having a breakthrough, the distract you from the breakthrough and, you know, make it about them or something like that. So that's the processing part of the diagnosis, and then the solution to that problem is like the what'd you call it? Oh, blanket party. I love it. That's good. Well,
Yep.
actually, and what it might be in this case is that she's going to move out of town.
Well, that'd be perfect then, but then she's still out there doing that shit to other people.
That's
so.
right, and that's the that is a problem, and we can't just, you know, rest on our laurels because we got rid of one of them, because we still have to become a united front, so
Mhm.
that we, you
Yeah, I
know,
mean, maybe you guys should kick her out before she moves. So she gets that lesson before she has to go to another
kick her
place.
out of what? I mean, she's not really in it. She just was on the Zoom call last night and said that she wants, you know, something for nothing. She asked for how she could get something for nothing. And we said, can't, sorry. And then, you know, now they're mad. So, oh, well, that's too bad.
Well, let them be mad and maybe they just won't join the community then, you know,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah. Hopefully not.
problem solved.
Hopefully,
know?
you know, right now the person who invited them in is stomping her feet and having a tantrum. And it feels to us like, you know,
Well,
some
because they got
adults.
their feelings hurt. Maybe after a few, you know, a little bit, she'll realize, oh, wait a minute, these people I invited in are actually trying to do nefarious stuff for the community. They're not on board with helping out. And so I'll, you know,
Yeah, that's
because
what I
people are
told them.
so reactionary. At first, they're going to react by being, oh man, like my friends aren't being accepted. But then maybe once they take a chance to process it and think about it, they'll be like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, that's because they're being selfish pricks. That's why they don't want to have them, you know?
Right.
So,
Right. And you're right. Yeah. I mean, people are super reactionary now. It's incredible. Like, you know, there's no, I don't know. It's weird. It's just a weird thing.
It is.
So what other problems should we try to solve here?
Fix that with a blanket party.
I like the blanket party. Yeah, I'm going to tell Kurt about that when he gets home. I'm going to say, tell me about a blanket party. He's going to laugh. Were you in the military, Jeff?
Hell fucking no, man. There's no way.
How'd you hear about
I knew from a very young age that there was no way I was going to get in the military. I mean, I was probably in 6th grade.
Wow.
You just go, not for me. My dad joined the Coast Guard so that he didn't get drafted to go to Korea. So, and he was stationed in Ludington, Michigan. That's where I was born. For 2 years. I mean, it's very light, you know, nice duty. The foghorns and you know, whatever. But you know, kind of was like a sailor, but not really. Easy duty.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they don't really have to do anything except maybe block incoming cocaine.
Right, and save distressed boats, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's really what the military should have been for. But unfortunately, they got a little headstrong and decided they
well, we
wanted.
don't need a military. We just need like a rescue team,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
We just need rescue, search and rescue teams, right?
it's basically kind of what they did. And I guess the modern Coast Guard is trying to bust drug runners.
Oh, nice.
Down
Yeah,
in
they
Miami.
always, right. Of course, they have to, you know, have a reason to carry AR-15s and stuff, or whatever. Have guns that other people don't have.
Well,
Access
you know, the whole military concept goes way back in time. So it's just, you know, part of the psychopaths again.
Right. Oh yeah, for sure. They have to have their henchmen to do their dirty work. I mean, it really is just a giant mafia.
Mhm.
That's all they are, is the henchmen to carry out their obscene orders.
Well, I think initially it's about about money, right? But then they have so much
money.
money, and now it's power. So how can I?
Oh, money. Well, yeah,
Well,
they print the fucking money. So.
Yeah, no, they got that figured out. So it's power over other humans, which you certainly can do that with money. But you know,
Oh, yeah.
you do it with drugs, you do it with propaganda, and all the other things that they're throwing at us. And
That's what it's always been about.
I agree, it always has been, but
Power.
now it is really, really bad. You know?
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not going to name any names, but I kind of got disgusted today when I noticed that certain people that I work for, you know, basically gave preferential treatment to people who had offered more money than other people. And I was just like, it just is. And I'm like, I just hope I don't do this. I have to just stay on top of it because I'm sure it's very tempting. And if you're not paying attention, you could easily fall for this bullshit.
So true. If you're not
You know?
paying attention, you can just fall right in it.
You fall right in it.
It's true.
You know, if you relax even for a second, you will just fall right in it. So, I mean, I can't say that I wouldn't, but I was just like, ugh, really?
Mhm.
You know?
Well, this is the other problem too, is like, we go to school, right? And we learn how to follow orders when we're in school. So, because the way the education system is designed is actually pumping out psychopaths, because a lot of the way the education system is designed is to get good grades. So what does that do when you get good grades? It separates you from your peers and makes you think you're better than your peers because you have better grades, right? And then so the whole system is a competition. So if you're not the top of the class, you get your ass kicked in that system, right? And that, but not only do you get your ass kicked, but you also learn how to, you're deeply trained on how to follow what your peers do so you can get along, but also take orders from the teachers. It's like my daughter had an accident, a potty accident at school today because the teacher didn't see her signaling to go to the bathroom soon enough. And it's like, why can't they just stand up and go to the bathroom? And then if the teacher's like, hey, why are you standing up? Then they're just like, oh, I have to go to the bathroom or I'm going to pee myself.
And then she would be embarrassed in front of her other classmates.
Yeah, but the fact that you even have to ask to go to the bathroom is like following orders, because you have to, like, there's these regimented things that are just like so regimented, like you have to ask permission to relieve yourself, and this kind of entrainment translates over, and people are more likely to listen to authority because of that schooling. The school trains you to listen to authority, because what are the teachers and the principal? Well, they're the authorities, right? And so if you don't listen to the authorities, bad stuff happens to you. Like you might get in trouble, or, something might happen to where you're embarrassed, and so this trains people to follow orders. And so, like, my sister was telling me about this scientific study that she read where 85% of people will follow orders, whether it's a moral or immoral act, doesn't really matter. But 85% of people are going to follow the orders,
which is like
regardless
that
of the morality to it.
That electric shock, that electric shock experiment.
And
remember
then
that?
That's not the Stanford prison. That's the
no, not Stanford prison. That was the I started to say that, but it was not that. It was the another one where the guy got people to like shock people because they were.
Well, no, they did it to a lot of people. And there was a very small percentage actually just didn't believe it, or they weren't going to harm another human.
Yeah.
And they just backed out of that. That is a very, very small percentage.
Right. I
Mm.
can't remember the name of it. It was the name of the scientist. I can't remember what the name of the
Yeah,
experiment.
so she was kind of trying to argue with me that that experiment proves that humans by nature are kind of evil, and I was like, no, that doesn't prove. It proves that the way we're training humans is bad.
Mhm.
You know, has nothing to do with their nature. It's the way they're
Right.
being trained. They're being entrained by looking up to authority their whole lives, and so of course they're going to trust the authority when, even if it's a malevolent one, when they come
Mhm.
out of that system. And
Right.
so that, is one of the causal factors of the problem we're facing today, because you know these kids are these kids that are successful have like really inflated egos, and when you have an extremely inflated ego, it lends itself towards psychopathic tendencies.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
So I mean,
Right.
that's
That's what they want you. They
so that's
want you to
gotta
believe that people are inherently evil, which we are not inherently
no,
evil.
they're not. It's the entrainment, and it's done in subtle way. It's almost done in such a subtle way that it doesn't look malevolent. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Yes. So it's like you think it's all well and good, but then it really isn't, because it's like training this competitive nature into people
Mhm.
versus, you know, kids. Like, I think it would be better, if kids just had more freedom, like where they could just kind of do, and it doesn't really matter. Some kids develop at different rates than other kids, as far as maturity. Just because you're 7 years old doesn't necessarily mean you're at the same maturity level as every other 7-year old, you know? And
For sure.
so, but that's what they kind of try to snowball it. And it's like, if your kid maybe is slightly behind developmentally, not for any reason of the parents or any reason other than just the fact that their body develops slower just in nature, just the way it's like how some people go gray way sooner than other people. It's like, their bodies develop in different speeds. And so some of these kids who are being labeled as, special needs or whatever, they might just be like, in 2 years they're probably going to be fine, at the
Well, they're
level that,
fine. They're
they're
fine right
fine, they're
now.
already fine. They're just like, they're being compartmentalized into this grade level that is for that age specific thing, where it shouldn't really matter where you are. But because by the time you get out of high school, if you know how to like read and do math, like some basic math, then you're going to be good, and like that's pretty much the main skills you need to know. I mean, yeah, there's some social stuff as far as, resolving problems, like as far as arguments with other people and stuff in a non-violent way. And like, but that's not really focused on,
No,
more of the
no.
focus is just on, do this, remember these facts, or you're going to be in trouble,
That's what I
or
was
you're
going
going
to
to be
say.
embarrassed because you're not going to move on to the next grade level with your peers. So that's going to be a traumatic abuse, training basically scenario.
I was held back in first grade, and all I wanted to do was draw. And I just really wasn't into the program or the programming. And I kind of
Mm-hmm.
fought against it. And I was left-handed, and the teacher tried to change me to be a right-handed
Oh yeah.
person. And I just really wasn't ready for the programming. But then I got held back.
Are you
And
still
then
left-handed?
I still am left-handed.
That's great. I got changed over.
Oh, you were one of those. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's
Well, I mean,
10% of us that are
I'm
lefties.
59. How old are you? Do you mind?
67.
Okay. Yeah, I got changed over. What did you say? There's how many a percentage of what?
10% lefties.
Oh, 10% lefties. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'm ambidextrous now because I realized it, and I have been doing stuff with my left hand to try to go back. But
I'm pretty ambi. I see, when I was a kid, there weren't any left-handed baseball mitts, and there weren't any left-handed golf clubs.
I mean, don't you realize that's part of the programming, because they don't want you to be connected to the creative, which is what you are. Like, that's one of my secret
Correct.
weapons in my class, is that I just tell people to paint with their left hand, and that really just knocks out the critical mind. And
Sure.
anybody can paint when they do that, and they just don't want you to be connected to that, so they got rid of it. It's just so vile, though. It's just so disgusting.
Yeah.
They did that.
Yeah, the same thing happened to me. It was they're like, nope, that wrong hand. Even my mom was like, oh, that's the wrong hand.
Oh, you were left-handed too?
Yeah.
Are you left? You're not left-handed now, though, are you?
I could do both. I'm ambidextrous.
Wow.
But that's because I realized that, well, part of it was shoveling snow and my right hand would get tired. So I'd switch left-handed, and I was like, oh, I can do this both ways. I could probably do that with other stuff, And so part of it was just I've had like a lot of different jobs, or even just in school, where you have to just do menial, like super boring stuff, repetitive stuff, And so I'm like, well, since I have to do this boring, repetitive stuff anyways, I might as well entertain myself by using my left hand and, training myself to do it that way versus just doing it the easy way with my, my dominant hand at the time,
Mhm.
And so that was part of it was just me, my nature is like, I like to challenge myself. And so part of it was just like me trying to give myself challenges by, using my less dominant hand to draw with or paint with or whatever.
But that's pretty amazing that you kept it going, Jeff.
Well, part of it is that my pops is left-handed too.
Oh, cool.
So, I don't know if I was emulating him or what, but, it took, and I'm the only lefty in my family besides my dad. Who
That's
knows?
amazing that he was able to keep it too, because he's even older, he was even.
I agree.
Because that was a big deal back, like they really went after you. In some places, they used a stick, they would beat you, slap your hand.
Yes, speaking of the sticks, so I remember in elementary school, if you wanted to go to the bathroom, you had to go up to the teacher and you had to ask for the stick that had the key on it to go to the bathroom. Or no, it was a hall pass. So that if somebody else saw you in the hall, that this is your clearance, this is your key.
Yeah, it's like we had the hall pass thing too. It's like you couldn't be in the hall if you got stuck in the hall or caught in the hall without your hall pass, and it was like you didn't get recess, or there was some sort of a punishment like that, like, oh, you got to stay in and do boring worksheets while the rest of the kids go to recess.
So,
fucking insane, man. We've been
it
like,
is so fucked. It is so
it's
fucked up.
fucked up, man. It's really
so fucked up. And we know it, and we know so many people that don't know much about anything.
Oh my God, it's incredible. People who think that how to solve a problem is to Google it.
Right.
God,
well, that's part of the program too. Of course it is.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
How do you solve a problem? You find someone who can tell you how to solve it.
Right. Instead of
you find the
instead
answer.
of figuring it out, instead of inputting all the data or all the different scenarios, and then analyzing the data and all the outcomes of if you take certain actions, what could happen, and then once you get through all that processing, then you have your outcome, which is the action that needs to be taken to solve the problem. going through that trivium, you know.
Right.
And sometimes some education is required. Some research might be required. You might have to read some books or watch some videos in the case of YouTubing it or whatever.
Yeah, true.
But sometimes, you know, I've tried that where I'm like, ooh, I have this problem or something I need to fix. Well, YouTube didn't have the answer. So guess what? I had to go back to the old fashioned way of doing it, which was figuring trial and error, you know, figuring it out on my own.
Yeah.
Imagine
Exactly.
that.
Imagine that. I mean, and we just simply have to have patience to do that. And that's something that, I mean, I'm noticing, like, I'm not sure that, you know, even though we're in this dire state of affairs, it seems like I'm not sure that on the whole, people have that kind of patience. Like, I'm really, it's shocking to me. But see, because I'm like, yes, now we get to work together. And it's like, no, not unless it's going to be done by this afternoon. Not unless I've got it figured out by this afternoon. Because if you're not going to get it figured out, then I don't want to do it. I'm just like, okay, well, this is fucked up.
Yeah. Well, so do you think they hammered curiosity out of us also?
Oh,
So,
fuck yeah, I'm
you
curious.
know, so if people are
I don't know
curious,
how.
people can learn how to do anything. You know, it's like, but they just want us helpless. You know, just
Well, but yeah, they say that thing that curiosity killed the cat. You ever hear that shit? And I'm like, and then
oh
I hear,
yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard
I
that,
heard,
sure.
yeah, but what was it? Curiosity killed the cat, but something brought him back. What was it? The something. Curiosity killed the cat, but
I don't remember the second part of
there's the
that.
second part. I just recently found out something brought him back. So it's like, good, you know, he has 9 lives. So, you know, he used up one of his lives or something. But that, yeah, it's like they try to, you know, mafia thug you out of being curious, you know.
Yeah.
Well,
It
it's that
is.
learned helplessness. Oh, I don't know how to do it. So, oh, I need to hire someone to do it for me, or I need to, oh, I'm helpless. I can't do it. So I need to figure someone else out who can do it. And so that's kind of like takes away that curiosity. It's like, oh, why be curious and ask questions and find answers when you can just outsource it to someone else who already knows how to do it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, like, so for example, these things I've been doing are Boeing now, and so I have to figure that out, like how I mean, of course, immediately I'm like, fuck. But I'm gonna
So
figure it out. I'm gonna figure
I'm
out how to
gonna
unbow. What?
I'm gonna help you if you want
Oh,
to be helped.
yeah. Please, please, please.
Okay. I got something's coming. Okay, went away. All right. So have you ever heard of balanced construction?
No.
So for instance, when I had my millwork company, we did lots of laminate work when we first started. And if you put laminate on just one surface and you leave the other surface not clad with laminate, it will bow. It is sucked towards that unbalancedness. So if you were making a laminate piece, you would have to do the same thing to the backside of it, and then it will stay flat. So what you've done is you've implied or put on moisture, right?
Yeah.
So, and you only did it on one side?
I did it on the other side, but you know, with the ones that have a lot of texture on one side, it has a lot more stuff on it, so it's bowed. So
And that's why it's pulling towards that
yeah,
side.
yeah.
Just the tip.
Well, what I think I'm gonna do is I'm going to when it gets warmer outside, I'm gonna put it in moist ground and put it in the sun, and then I'm gonna immediately attach it to a piece of wood. That's probably 1/4 of an inch.
Right, that'll help. That piece of wood probably wants the same thing to happen to both sides of it too.
Okay, so I would have to paint it, paint the
Yeah,
other side.
yeah. I mean, you can just do a shitty job, but it will help it from pulling.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I was gonna do. I mean, I talked to
Good.
my I'm gonna do something. I mean, originally I was just like, oh my God, this, because on the YouTubes, they don't mention this part. They don't always mention this. They just show you their fantastic creation and they don't mention, you know, the things that I end up going through.
Right. And you don't even know if their things are warped also.
True. No,
And
I don't know.
they might not even, know the reason. So they couldn't teach you that because they don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely out here in the middle of the ocean with these pieces. I'll tell you right now, because I'm like, well,
That's
what I'm
good.
gonna do, and I'm gonna figure it out. Hopefully, have enough time,
Uh-huh.
and that's how it's gonna go, because that's what I want to do.
Okay.
So I'm just adventuring out.
Woody, what are you doing?
I'm trying to do a piece on problem solving. And so I came up with the idea so I have a cave over here and I'm going to have a person standing here, and then I have a rain cloud, right? And so they're going to see that there's a rain cloud coming. And so then the solution is basically just going to go in the cave, which, yeah, I don't know. Problem.
What if it's Plato's cave?
Then they'll have another problem when they get in there. Then they better not believe the shadows on the wall.
That's it. No, that's it. That's a good thing that it rained, that person is not in the cave, but going to go in the cave and see all those other people there. You're going to try and let them out.
Maybe so. Maybe
well, you can't say it's really nice out.
So,
what?
I don't know. We'll see. I might end up wiping the whole thing and starting over too. So far, I've got a cave.
Yeah, I'm sure that
You got a cave, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good.
So I'm gonna have the person in this one. They're gonna be looking at the rain cloud, and then in this one, they're gonna be scratching their head. That's the processing part. Right?
Oh, good. It's a trivium. That's good. Yeah.
And then this one, they're going to be standing in the cave, and the rain cloud's going to be over
looking
the
out,
cave.
Yeah.
So.
I like it. That's good.
Yeah. It's good.
Simple problem solving.
Yeah, but I mean, you can apply this stuff to everything, though. That's the thing, right? You can apply. Let me just see how would I apply this.
I don't.
Problem.
Maybe I should be addressing a bigger problem, but
no, it's the problem at hand. Don't want to ruin your hairdo.
It's just no. I mean, we literally. I think they're trying to get us to not think critically anymore. Like, I guess they would just have you like stand in the rain or something, or you know. I don't know.
The rain itself isn't necessarily a problem. I mean, you could stand in rain and be happy with that.
Sure. Yes. If it's really hot out, it's cooling. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
rain itself isn't necessarily a problem, but I just thought that would be a good way of showing someone they see a problem, they process what to do about the problem, and their solution is going inside the shelter.
I like it. I'm not exactly sure if I'm going to do this or not, but I was thinking about my truth piece is truths that don't have to be truths, but they are. And there's a whole lot of those surrounding us.
Oh yeah, that's good.
So it's kind of looking at it a different way.
So you mean like subjective morality? Like people, like what? Give me an example, please. It's very abstract.
All right. So war is a truth, right? It's been with us for my whole fucking life, but it doesn't have to be. And I mean, that's just a, kind of a blatant example, but
money.
There's all kinds of things that are, more subtle. Sure. Money and the money system, the school system. It's all the things that we've been talking about, and they are true things.
Yes, but they don't have to be.
They don't
Yeah.
have to be.
No, because
So
they're
that
not.
might be a way to get people to think a little bit differently, about truth when they see that. Oh, yeah, it doesn't have to be that way. It's always been that way, but it doesn't have to be. And if they see that, then they're more free than they probably even know.
For sure.
Right, just to get people to question what is. Like, I mean, you walk in the supermarket, supermarkets didn't used to be. You don't need to have a supermarket in order to exchange, go get in order to eat. But a lot of people never even question that at all. It's just part of life. This is the way it is. Everything, so many things, cars, anything.
In terms of everything. Yeah, you're right. In terms of everything is like that.
Everything. The only thing that
that's even the supermarkets changed too. It used to be like back in the old days, like you'd just go to like the counter and there'd be the supermarket clerk and you'd say, hey, I need this, this, and that. And they'd be like, oh, okay, 10 minutes. And then they'd come back with all the stuff you needed. And then you'd buy it. And then the brilliant idea that people, instead of the clerk, the store clerk going and finding all the items, now everyone goes, pushes their car down the aisles and find all the items they need themselves, and then they check out. So even just that has changed.
Right, and back then I guess they only had one item, right? They didn't have 10,000 different competing items.
Yeah,
they had like
item, one item in a category.
They're like, we have this kind of oil.
Right.
There you go. You need oil? Here you go.
Right.
You need olive oil. We have this brand, not 77,000 different brands.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's a good.
This is olive oil. It came from olives. Who cares what the brand was?
And back then, everything was organic, so you didn't have to.
Oh yeah. I mean, and now organic isn't even organic. That's the fucked up. Really.
Of course, I saw that coming long ago. But,
oh my God, what a nightmare!
It's
Jesus Christ. I mean, oh my God, help me! It's so bad. Like, ugh. Yeah. So that's a good way to approach the truth show. I think that's. So you're gonna do one piece?
Oh, I'll probably do several. I don't know, but I think that'll be that. And I don't know how to get away from written word because it's so expeditious, and if you make a piece of art that has a sly kind of double meaning or a triple meaning, that's hard to do, and it's going to slide past most of the people. They're not going to get it. So I don't know. I tend to go for 2x4 across the head.
I know what you mean. I've been struggling with that sometimes too. It's like some of these concepts, it's like unless you write it out in the language with words, it's hard to like articulate with visual imagery.
It is, but I think some of the most successful art is that way. That you have to work a little bit at it to try and get to the meaning, and that might not even be the meaning, but at least it's satisfactory enough for the searcher or trying to parse through it.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I do intend to have I have to explain what a sigil is and all that. I intend to do that too with the pieces. I will have.
You'll have a statement.
Probably even a book. I might even have a book available of all of them available to download if you want.
I would love for there to be a book that is created from this, and that's it's a real thing. Who knows? The whole digital aspect of our life just may blow up and it goes away because who knows? World War, or they just don't want to provide power to us anymore because we are starting to use it to see behind the veil, behind the curtain. I don't know. It's possible.
Right. Yeah. Oh, you mean to have a book of the whole show?
Yes. I like to photograph. photograph the individual pieces and then, highlight the artists individually. And if there's a discussion they want to talk about it, they can. There could be some words accommodating it or accompanying it. So who knows?
Yeah, that could be cool.
Yeah,
I like that
That'd
idea.
that'd be great.
Because everything's so fucking digital. It's like, here's
Oh,
this
yeah.
thing. You can just put it out there. You can take it with you. You don't need to power it up. It needs,
Oh God, am I sick of it too? I agree.
I know. Well, there's that. So I mean, we're attacking all of these.
And it's not healthy, these cellular frequencies that are inundating us day in and day out. It's not healthy. It's giving
No,
people
how could it be healthy?
diseases.
Yeah,
It's giving
how could it-
people diseases.
Right.
They tell you it right there in the disclaimer when you on the, I just got a new phone and in the packaging, there was a really little thing that said, see hazard, see dangers in your agreement or whatever it's called, which isn't even
agreement-
in there. They're just oh, see the harmful dangers that this device could cause you in your agreement that no one ever reads.
Right,
Or in
because
your
the font
user
is
guide,
like
which
a 2.
that no one ever, they're oh yay, my device is connected, I can go surf the internet and watch silly videos, but I'm not going to read up on how my device might be slowly killing me.
Hell no. I mean, I agree to way too much that shit. So I'm lazy,
Yeah, it's
Oh, yeah.
we want the modern convenience of having a device that, if we're out on the town and we all of a sudden we get hungry and we're ooh, I feel like Mexican food, and then you can pop into your phone, where's the nearest Mexican restaurant, and it'll take you right there.
I have
versus
shit popping up and I didn't even request it, but I talked
Yeah.
to somebody about it in the proximity of my fucking phone. Bam, there
Right.
it is. Holy shit. This
Yeah.
this person I know, she was at work and there was this woman coworker and she had this new outfit and apparently it was pretty stylish and she commented on it and said, I really like your outfit. And then a little bit later, that outfit came up on her fucking phone and a place to buy it from the
Right.
photograph.
Oh
Because
God.
she had her phone in her pocket and the camera was sticking out.
But the phone took a picture of the
The
outfit?
phone, took a picture or it was just on, who knows? I mean, she goes, I can't explain this, but that's what happened. So
Oh my-
Yeah, no, it's weird because
it-
the other day I was researching, products for mitigating cell phone radiation or whatever. And there's
like a
one I was,
Faraday.
yeah, like a Faraday
Yeah.
thing, or they make these little things that supposedly mitigate they harmonize the frequencies somehow so they're not as harmful anymore. And I was looking at one and it was $200 or something. I was oh, that's too expensive, but then it's don't put a price on your health and blah, 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 and then but long story short, the 2 days or no, the next day, I just my wife is scrolling down her new Facebook news
no.
feed,
Oh no.
Yeah.
and there it is. There's the product that I was looking at the day before on my wife's news feed. Not mine, because I don't look at my news feed. Maybe it probably is in my news feed too if I looked at it. But
Right.
there it is, this product right there in my wife's news feed. I'm what the hell? How did that get over to my wife's news feed? I was the one looking at it. It's they're tracking our internet
Fucking
IP
doomed.
address or something like that. Oh, someone from this IP address was looking at this product. Let's put it on any news feed that's associated with that IP address.
So my daughter's 35 and she just got back from the hospital, being there for 4 days. She had a radical hysterectomy. And 2 months before that, she had 2 lesions in her body. And she had surgery to remove them. And she was in incredible pain for like 6 months straight, just bent over. I mean, and she can handle pain. And so then doc says, we just got to, yank this out of you, all of this. And so then I was talking to some other people I know. And so I kind of was just talking to women and about the reproductive organs. And out of these like 7 women that I talked to, not all together, just, it was women and I talking about, kind of a weird subject, and they all said, yes, I have reproductive problems. I cannot have a child. And they all said kind of the same thing, different problems. But so, I mean, that's just totally environmental. And my daughter is a very clean liver. She doesn't barely ever drinks, doesn't smoke, eats, organic, likes, local organic. And so, I mean, it's just fucking wrong. She's not going to get the shot. She believes in bodily autonomy. And so, who knows?
Wow, that's horrible.
It is horrible.
Yeah,
it's horrible.
that's crazy.
I mean, God knows what the hell happened.
Right.
What
the hell
was it?
happened?
I mean, you got to ask, I mean, there's so many things that are hidden in the if you eat anything processed at all, like even bread, that they claim is organic could still have been bathed in glycosyphate.
Right. They use it
depending
as a drying agent. And then that
Yes.
you can use that, but that doesn't get you away from, you can still have your organic, stamp.
Right. And then there's that other fertilizer that changes this is probably the thing that's causing your problem, or a couple things, but there's one fertilizer that, changes your sexual
Orientation.
changes in the frogs. It was proven that it changed
Oh
a
yeah.
male frog into a
Well,
female frog.
isn't that BPA?
No, it starts with an A. It's
Okay.
it's a fertilizer. No, BPA, you're right though. The plastic stuff does mess around with your estrogen.
Yeah.
But then there's this other shit. I mean, what? And my naturopath a long time ago, back when the transgender thing was just starting, and there was like an 8-year-old kid that was like claiming that they were the opposite sex.
Yeah.
I still had that naturopath, and I said, what the hell? And he's like, probably, all of the hormones in the water supply from, menopause, people taking hormones, and it goes in the water supply, and then
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and then it messes with your correct balance when you're pregnant, and then your kids end up with hermaphrodite qualities.
Well, I represent an artist, and she was a he when she was born, and very, very confused. And then she went through sex change and hormones and all of that. And she had a show here about 2 months ago, and she told me she came to the conclusion that is bullshit. Not the environmental stuff, but that she made a mistake.
Right. Oh, I've seen that. I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people think it's a mistake.
And she regrets all of that.
Oh my God, cutting off her dick. Oh my God, please. So terrible. I know. It's so horrible. I know. It's just terrible. Can you, I mean, just imagining that as a solution to your problem. Oh, I'm going to just cut my penis off.
This doesn't make it all okay. It's like, fuck.
No, dude, it's in your
It's almost
head.
like a psychological disorder,
Not almost
it's not accepted.
It's not almost like a psychological disorder. It is a psychological.
I know,
disorder.
but they're not.
It is. Totally.
They're not labeling it like that.
No.
They're just like, oh, it's okay. You can be a different. Oh, you think you want to be a man? Oh, yeah, that's fine. Go ahead. Here's the doctor that can make that happen for you.
Yeah, there's a whole video of all like 10 different people who regret it now. I mean,
I'm
I
sure
knew,
there's more than
I'm sure
that.
there's
They
more
just
that,
haven't gone
this is
public.
just,
You know?
well, no, yeah, this is a film, like a documentary film with 10 people that regretted it, you know, and here you're telling me this person regret. I mean, no, I don't, I think it's extremely scary. I mean, to me, it's, look, you know what? I've stumbled upon this thing about how Rocky Horror Picture Show is about the elite. It's about the whole thing. Rocky Horror Picture Show is a vignette of what's going on. And I was like one of those people that went to see that show every week, you know,
Oh, yeah. What'd you
and
bring? Did you bring the rice? You brought it all?
I did it all. I did mostly a lot of opium is what I did, but
I never went once, but this girl I was dating, she wanted to go, and I don't know, something got in the way, and I didn't go. This was back in Chicago in the Biograph Theater. That was a long time ago. Yeah, she'd go every week. Like,
yeah, I went every week for a few years, and it was super fun and everything. But I read on YouTube, I found it on YouTube that somebody analyzed the script and showed that it's what they're doing. It's what they're, and I'm just like, oh my God, this is so fucked up, man. Yeah, and it makes perfect sense because of the golem, you know, the Frankenstein thing, and the
oh, Lord of
transgender,
the Rings, the
and
Golem.
they're trying to get back to another planet. They're going off planet, you know, all that where they come from. It's a transgender planet.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's just, oh my God. I was just like, oh, Lord have mercy.
So you're recording this? Somebody, Woody?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's recording.
So
Yeah, we've been,
this
yeah.
is a really quite a lighthearted conversation we're having.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe someday, maybe somebody will want to watch it. I mean,
Yeah, I'll
sure.
probably we were gonna be live on YouTube, but it didn't work. So
Right. I heard that. Okay.
so
Yeah, we talk about whatever the fuck we want to talk about.
No, it's awesome.
Yeah, that's
and
why.
So I
like,
will be posting this to YouTube later.
Oh,
whether anyone
send me
will
a
watch
link, okay?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I will.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, yeah,
Awesome.
I try to keep. That's why I try, maybe unsuccessfully, to not talk about specific people, name
Yeah.
names and stuff like that on here because it's gonna go.
Yeah. Right.
It's gonna be.
It's gonna go
It's going
viral.
live.
It's gonna go
Well,
on.
it was supposed to be live, but that was Murphy's Law came in and made that not happen tonight.
Yeah.
What did I just do?
So
But yeah,
that's okay. It happens.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, we're still, you know, I don't know. I have a good feeling about it. I feel like eventually it's going to take off in some way, and I don't really have to.
We're trying to make it like this thing just be kind of like a philosophical discussion group, you know, where people, artists can come and we'll just have philosophical discussions and try to solve problems, you know, through philosophical discussion and understanding these different situations that we find ourselves in this human condition.
Yeah. How can we, well, it's the same question about marketing about the gallery, but how to get it out to more people. But they have to be curious. They have to be willing to, you know, kind of get upset. I would think if they're human, get upset with shit.
For sure.
Well, right. I mean, and that's why we're on the One Great Work Network now. But yeah, we are catering to a certain specific market because, you know, I don't know if I could really spend much time with somebody who's jabbed at this point.
I understand.
I don't really know if I
understand
can.
what
I
you're
don't know if I
saying.
can, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I have a hard time when I walk in the health food store and I see people wearing a mask still.
Oh,
I'm
God.
like,
it kind of, my lips
I'm like, go
turns into
away.
a sneer. Yeah.
I know, and I should try extra hard to be nice to them, but I'm just like, nope, you're not my people.
Right.
No, you're like in total fear. Like I just can't relate to you at all. And,
right. Yeah.
I mean, in the old days, you know, before this, I wouldn't have known that about them, and I would have been much kinder to them probably. But it's just really difficult because to me, they're part of the problem. They're the ones that are gonna jump back on the bandwagon again when they decide it's
Sure.
time to re-up.
Yep, they believe
Which
things
they
that
will.
are not true. That's the problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And so, I mean, I don't really want to know those. And so, yeah, that could damage my marketability because I was talking to, we're also in this barter. We have a barter exchange that we started down here.
Uh-huh.
And so there was this guy, offering free marketing help, which it's like the same thing we got out of autonomy really, but with a slightly different, he uses the hero's journey, which is interesting. I think that's pretty interesting. And he's like, well, would you be willing to teach people who've got the jab? And I just was like, well, I told him yes, but I'm thinking, why? I don't want to spend any time with anybody who, then I'm just going to have to censor myself for money. No, I don't think so. Probably not. I'm probably not going to do that. I'm probably not going to be able to.
Well, what we need is the people who are on the fence, someone who's like, oh, starting to question it, and then we can, help them answer some of those questions, and then maybe they won't be a fence sitter anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you're better. I mean, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to be kind like that.
I understand, but I think, last conversation, I think I told you about the 30, 40, 30% of people.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the 30%, and I don't know if there's 30% of us.
That's
right. But yeah, we need some of those people to come to our side, if they're shot up or not. I mean,
right.
They can have regrets.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Well, I mean, I actually know someone I'm very close to in California who just got it, just peer pressure. She got peer pressured into it totally.
Mhm.
She was holding her own, but she wouldn't get in a group of people. Like she would not contact the freedom movement people at all. And then one day she just told me, she called me up and she goes, I just went and got the jab. And I was just like, oh my God. I mean, but I can imagine how that would be so easy to do if I didn't have any support.
Sure.
And that's a big part of their marketing plan, to get people that way, because it is so difficult to stand up by yourself. And she couldn't withstand it. So, I mean, I love her, she's
Yeah.
someone I've known
Yeah.
for a long time. And I
Yeah.
know immediately afterwards, she's like, what do I need to do to detox? And I'm like, we really don't know.
Right.
We don't really have an answer for you about that. I mean, you can start to really live a clean lifestyle now. You can, do a detox and try to eat only super clean food, which may or may not be organic, but
Yeah.
you should have thought of that before. You should have started that process before. Now you're like, you just injected extreme poison into your body.
I know my wife got it, and she was peer pressured into it 'cause she's a teacher, and all the teachers were getting them, and so she felt peer pressured to do it. But then like a lot of the teachers have been getting the booster, and she's like, I'm not getting that. I'm like, good. You shouldn't. And like, but like, she started educating herself and stuff, and so now she's like, boo. And then just like the other day, I was on something popped up on my phone, and it was like, experts are saying that vaccination has little to no effect on kids between 5 and 10 who have had the vaccine. It basically, the headline was saying, if your kid is between 5 and 10 and they got the shot, it basically does absolutely nothing for them to lower their risk of getting COVID. And so I was like, yeah, I knew that. After like, this is like a couple months
just
after
that
was approved, and like hundreds of thousands, if not millions of kids have gotten that injection, Oh, it's safe. It's safe to use, but we're not going to tell you the science that says it does nothing until a couple months later.
Although it probably will do something to you. I mean, it's going to do something.
Well, yeah, it'll do something, but is that maybe not the
It has nothing
not
to
the
do-
thing that
Oh, no,
they
no,
told you to
absolutely.
get it for,
No, no,
you know.
no, absolutely
So I
not.
just thought that was weird. It's like if I was a parent that saw that article, I would have been like, and had actually bought into stuff and gave my child that, I'd be like furious, you know. But no one is. They're just like
Mhm.
ignoring that. They're just like, no, we did the right thing.
Right. I mean, I think that's designed to cause more confusion at this point, you know, because there's so
Well,
many confusing um, arguments out there, right?
well, confusion and major division
Yeah. Oh yeah.
amongst the vax. So that's shit. It might be a war. It's a new war.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's weird because it's like, I don't know. I mean, I guess it hasn't gotten crazy with the vaccine passports or anything yet. So, I mean, it's like they're already like Ticketmaster and places like that are already asking, want you to prove your status to go to their concerts and stuff like that. So it's like,
Right. Right. But yeah, and that's what this apparently this Ukraine thing is to cover up the World Economic Forum signing some bill about an international vaccine passport thing and digital ID. That's what the
so
psyop of that is about.
They're chomping at the bit.
So yeah, I mean,
yeah.
yeah, it doesn't even matter. See, that's what's really confusing about it is that, and I think that's part of their tactic is that you know, they'll say they'll tell you the truth, but then at the same time they'll push the vaccine passport, even though
Or
it
they'll tell
doesn't
you the
work.
truth, or they'll wait until after it's already too late. Like, oh, good news. It's approved for kids 5 to 10 to get the thing, right? 3 months later, oh, by the way, that thing doesn't actually do anything to
Oh,
help
by
what
the
you said it
way,
was
there's
going
no
to.
such thing as a virus, by the way.
Yeah.
That's never gonna come out. That'll never.
Right. And there's that.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's you know, what Andy's
Right. Yeah.
point of view is. And I kind of agree with him, actually. I think he might be onto something really wise, but that would be so difficult for people to swallow, because what would this all be about then? They would have to really look hard at, and I mean, you know, the only reason I started looking at this really hard was because I lost a friend to 9/11. A friend of mine was working in Cantor Fitzgerald in the top floor of the World Trade Center, and he died. And that's when I just was like, and then I saw how the country got behind George Bush after, you know, the broken Chad bullshit with Al Gore. Suddenly
Isn't it
the country got behind
isn't
him.
it odd too that um the CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald wasn't in the building that day?
Yeah, it's
No,
odd.
it's not odd. Yeah, of course it's odd, but no.
No.
He
Right.
was
I mean,
dropping his kid off at the first day of school. Was that a coincidence or was that planned? I don't know.
well, I don't know, but I mean, Richard wasn't there either, and he was working in
Right.
I mean, there was a few people who
He was
like,
on his way. He was actually on his way there for a meeting, Richard.
right, and he was late,
And he was late. Good thing.
right,
Good
good thing.
thing.
I know. So I mean, I don't know. That was a whole, who knows?
And he said he went down that other street when he wasn't able to go down towards the World Trade Center anymore. And he said he was right next to those other buildings when the explosives went off in them. And he said he heard them and saw it. And the other buildings that went down that were a couple blocks away from the trade centers. He said
Right.
he was right. He heard the explosions in those
Right.
other buildings.
Right. No, yeah. I mean, actually saw the first footage before they censored the footage, you know? So, because I lived there, you know, so I knew. I mean, I didn't know what I was seeing though until
Right.
later,
Right.
until
I know.
later when I reflected on it, because I didn't have TV. So I didn't get inundated with the constant barrage of changing the story thing.
Trauma-based mind control.
Yeah, but I was like, how could they have like gotten into the Pentagon airspace? It didn't make, none of it made sense. I was like, how is this all possible? Like, what the fuck?
Sure doesn't.
You know?
Well, in the Pentagon too. I mean, come on. It's just baloney. It's all baloney.
Right. And then I look at, then I find out like the Pentagon is the center of a reversed pentagram. The shape of the Pentagon is in the center of a reversed pentagram. Oh, well, what does that mean?
And even that shape itself, the pentagonal shape, I don't think was originally an evil thing. I think that was co-opted by the evil
Masons
side of things too,
Well,
and made it, gave it that connotation. I mean, I don't think the pentagram itself is inherently evil. It's just it's that connotation
but the reverse pentagram is, because you drive the spiritual head into the ground, and you have the air, fire, earth, and water passions running the being. That yes, it's the pentagram, the pentacle is a spiritual symbol for, that the spirit rules over the earth, the five senses. It's the sixth sense rules over or it's only four senses in this case, but yeah, no, for sure. But the center piece is of the pentagram. The reverse pentagram is the pentagon shape. And then I'm like, well, why is that? I mean, and then, I'm just like bumbling along, and I fall into Mark Pastio's work, and I was just like, oh my God. So here we are.
Excuse me for a moment. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'm gonna take a break too.
Okay. I'm gonna sit here.
Okay.
Nobody else is.
Hold the fort.
Yeah. I might check on my. Oh, shit. Yeah, I would have to.
I'm back. Oh, looks like Joanna's there too.
Okay.
We're back.
Intermission.
Intermission. Yeah, well,
The old intermission.
I have to wait until it dries down before I can do anything to it.
Nice. We got your platform made.
Yeah, my thing is made, but now I have to wait for it to dry completely. And then I'm going to put, I mean, I am going to encounter this warping situation, and I will. I mean, maybe I should wait and glue it onto wood right now before I go any further. But
how many layers do you have?
Layers?
Yeah.
I have 4 pieces of cardboard glued together, and then I have 2 layers of paper glue.
So you know that plywood always has a uneven number of plies. And the center ply is in the center.
Ah,
And so you probably wanted 5 or 3 layers.
Another thing that can help too is cross corrugating. So the corrugations go in certain directions.
Right.
Each layer, if you cross the corrugations so they contrast each other, that'll help too.
That will help
But yeah,
too.
the odd number helps the symmetry of it.
okay. Well, the only one
that
that's
makes
not
sense.
warped was 4. That's why I did 4 again this time. I did 4 this time because that one isn't warped.
Well, there you go.
So that's where I was
And
coming.
sometimes it may not have to do with how many you have. It may just be the way that the material's getting the moisture and stuff.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, I'll figure it out. It's just that I didn't.
Annoying.
Well, I mean, this is just this is what happens when I got bored. I'm so bored with the regular. I got bored with normal art making, so I don't, and I also detest the I detest. Oh God, I have to take a break. I'll be right back. Sorry,
No worries.
I'm being summoned to make a phone call.
Uh-oh. That happens. Yeah, so I'm just slowly trying to fill this stuff in.
Yeah, that's looking good.
It's coming together here.
Yeah.
Putting a light bulb inside the head here, like to kind of just represent that.
Yeah.
Something happened in there. Some processing occurred. I suppose I could put some like little gears or something in there, but I think a light bulb, that would be good enough.
Yeah, the synopsis.
Something fired inside there that is going to cause them to go in the cave to protect themselves from the rain.
I like it.
Yeah. So it's a good problem solving, take in the information, process it, take the action to solve the problem,
Right.
Or, diagnose the problem, find out what the symptoms are, find out what the root cause of the symptoms are, and then take action to solve that problem. Go ahead, Jeff.
So I don't know if you can see this.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
So there's a 1-inch shaft that's full, like solid steel. And then I have bearings that fit over that shaft and with stop collars. So these black ones all spin.
Okay.
This is actually pretty big. This is over 12 feet high.
Oh, wow.
So, and the bearings are really smooth. They're actually not that expensive. And so this is a commission, and I haven't shown it to the potential. Well, he is my client or collector, but I haven't shown it to him yet.
Okay.
So I kind of, while I was just fucking around listening to you guys, I put these 2 top pieces on there, and they really weren't part of the program, but who knows?
Nice.
Do you know what a moire pattern is?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that these round shapes are about 3 inches apart, and the holes they're about 3/8. And so that when it spins, you're going to get that movement of the moire as it kind of
neat
changes. So,
that'll be cool.
So is that going to be a large sculpture?
Yeah. Currently, this is like 12'6" to the top.
Oh wow.
Nice.
But while I was talking to you guys, I was kind of adding these things on top. I don't know. I only have a fixed fee, so I can't make it a whole lot more. So I don't think I can afford to have these on the top. But
what's it going to be made of?
It's 16 gauge steel.
Oh, neat.
And
are you gonna cut it out? You're gonna do it?
Yeah, gonna do it. This paint would all be automotive as opposed to powder coating, which is expensive.
Okay. But
And
that's
this-
the
I-
colors kind of
Yeah,
scheme you're going for.
Yeah, I'm not, I kind of like the colors too. They're kind of colors I use, but who knows?
Nice.
Yeah.
What software is that in?
Vectorworks.
Oh, cool.
You ever heard of it?
I
It's
have
a-
not.
It's a German, it was called MiniCAD before when it came to the United States. It's been in the States for quite a while, but some US company bought them. And they're
Okay.
headquartered in Baltimore. But
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's a really nice product. I mean, you can do like do road grading, you can do lighting design,
Okay.
architectural landscaping. They
Okay.
kind of all those kinds of tools. Yeah, I could add a photograph behind this so you could, see what the background is. Yeah, it's pretty powerful software.
Nice.
So is it going to spin?
It's going to spin. Yeah, these big things are going to spin. So it's kind of like a weather vane.
But I mean, is the whole thing going to spin or just
No,
those things?
the shaft. So this black tube. So that's a 2¼ inch diameter. So this is connected to this weather vane piece.
Uh-huh.
This is connected to the weather vane piece, and this is connected to the weather vane piece.
Uh-huh.
And the rest are just colors
Uh-huh.
for texture. But yeah, so it'd be like a weather vane. So they'll definitely spin. And who the hell knows what it's going to really be.
We make 2 bunches of asparagus in warm holidays. If you don't hurry, it's gonna cold.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, you got asparagus with hollandaise.
Yeah, I better.
Lucky
I don't think you better. I
Warm.
think you better
Better
not
go.
pass that up.
That sounds really yummy. Go for it.
All right. Well, we ended on a little bit more of a lighter landing, but this is great. I enjoyed talking to you guys. So
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Well,
we'll
hopefully
make sure and
it's-
get you a reminder. We'll be doing
I appreciate
the
that.
same thing again next week. So we're trying to get more people involved so that we can have more rich conversation.
I totally agree. This is wonderful. I learned some things from you, and hopefully you guys learned some things from
Oh,
me.
definitely.
Yeah, it's like
Oh yeah.
it's one. You're my people.
It's the salon. It's the
Yeah, it is.
salon.
It is the
Online
salon. That's great.
Until we can get one, live, but we don't live near each other, so
No, but
sadly.
not. So, do you guys know Edge Gallery? It's a co-op.
I have. Do you think it's in the
It's on
Northern Highlands?
No, it's in on Colfax. It used to be on. I think it used to be on Santa Fe, but I think a couple of years ago they moved to Colfax.
I feel like I've driven by it before.
I've never been there, but I represent 2 artists that are part of the co-op, and so they're having a print show, and I had 2 of my prints that I just took off the wall in my gallery, and I had Shannon Palmer deliver them because she's got a couple of prints for it. So I don't know if you're around Colfax. I think it
Oh, is
opens
it on
this
right
Friday.
now?
It opens this Friday. Yeah.
Although it
Oh
was
yeah.
not on first.
Do you know
Friday.
where on Colfax it is?
I'll look it up.
I would have
I
to
can
look it up.
Yeah, I can look it up. I might have to roll over there and check that out.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess they do this print show. They've done it annually for a number of years. So
Nice.
yeah, they
Cool.
only charge like $15 a piece. I said, it's okay. Expose my work to a bigger audience, maybe. I don't know. Who the hell knows?
I don't
Right.
know, man. Good. Any opportunity to get it out there? I mean, are they abstract or prints?
No,
of
they're
sculptures?
those woodblock prints. So the one is the head and the remaining sand, so it's that hourglass shape. And the other one is cart before the horse. So it's the horse that's hooked up backwards and he's getting whipped by a guy who's got a little pot belly, and The horse has got blinders on.
That's hilarious.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah.
I think that might go over a lot of people's heads though these days,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
I know it's one of those pieces that we were talking about.
I know, I
Mhm.
agree. I totally agree. That isn't that sad? Yeah, that's
Wait,
where
you
we're
mean
at.
the horse goes before the cart? What?
And it's hooked up backwards. Go faster.
I'm more of the cart before the horse kind of guy myself.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. Well, so that link that you send me, could I then send it to somebody else if I
Go
if
for
they-
it.
Okay.
Sure.
All right.
We're
Okay.
using that same link every week
Okay, that's good.
right now unless it gets really polluted with people who are trying to cause us harm, like psychopaths. Then we might have to
Right.
change the link. But for now, it's a link.
Good friend of mine here in Pueblo. He's just as awake as we are, and he went to this kind of a salon that this woman who has the radio station, and she's very hip, and she talks. She has a conspiracy theory hour that she does every week with her husband,
Nice.
and she invites other people, and she's very cool. But so my friend went to this thing a couple Saturdays ago, and he just got in this argument with this guy who is he's more normie than not. He thinks he's smart. He thinks he's wise and knowledgeable, but he really isn't. He doesn't know much, but he just thinks he does. So he's dangerous. And so
Arrogant.
yeah, and arrogant about it. And they kind of got in this kind of an argument. He goes, I don't need that shit. so
No, bring him
For
on.
sure.
It's fun. It's to me, I make better art when I'm talking to you guys than when I'm. See, you experimented with your sculpture. You added stuff to it that you might.
yeah,
not
I
have
did. I
added.
just, I really just started throwing some stuff up there while I was talking, which is kind of, it bypasses something, I guess.
Yes, it
When you're
bypasses the
when you're
logic.
doing
does.
that, and I'm listening to you guys. Yeah, it's good, and it's community. So fuck yeah.
I know.
Helped you lose that
Awesome. All right.
judgment of like, oh, am I doing this right, or should I be putting this here? It just kind of distracts you a little bit and
Yeah.
allows you to actually create. But yeah, we'll let you get
Right.
to your
Pretty
yummy
unconscious.
sounding
Yeah.
dinner. Anything with hollandaise sauce, you got me. So
See you next time.
my daughter. Yeah. All right. Pleasure, guys.
That's
yeah,
fun.
pleasure.
See ya.
All right. Bye.
Talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye. There he goes.
Well, that
That
was a
was fun.
delight having him back on here again.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was really good. We can
What a
really
great dude.
imagine what it would be like if we had a bunch of people, which I think we will eventually have.
Eventually, well, no one knows about this. He's like one of the only persons we've told about this thing. So other than some of the people who are like just aware that, oh, we're doing a thing on the One Great Work Network now.
Right.
I noticed Chris Jansen subscribed to our YouTube channel.
Oh, did he? That's cool.
Yeah.
That's neat.
So that was good. He
Yeah.
actually signed up for our free book too. So he's kind of been into what we've been doing here, even though he hasn't come to anything, but like he's still kind of.
Right. Well, he's doing his thing. I mean,
Yeah.
and he's working. I think he's working maybe full time for Dr. Kaufman. I'm not sure.
Well,
I'm not really sure. He wants to quit his job as a carpenter and work for Dr. Kaufman full time.
I don't blame him.
That would be good. I would too if I didn't have all these other things I was doing, Which I mean, I'm always like this. I always have to be doing 10 things, not one
Right.
thing. Oh yeah, I can't handle. I don't think I could ever handle. I mean, in the old days, I used to work 40 hours a week doing something, but no thanks. I'd rather live on nothing.
It's
Okay.
boring.
Yeah, it's boring, and yeah, I just don't want to. Yeah, it's not. I don't want to do that. So, no, I'd rather just live on as little as possible and do a bunch of different things and see what transpires from that.
Right.
So what other problems should we solve? What are the things that we should apply the trivium, or like, well, we're this is part of what Passio's from the natural law seminar, problem solving. And I think how it applies to natural law is that in order to utilize natural law, you're going to have to use critical thinking and the trivium in order to
For sure.
apply
Well,
these principles to problems.
you're going to have to learn how to diagnose something, which a diagnosis is from the Greek preposition dia, through, by way of the Greek noun gnosis, knowledge, by way of knowledge. So, in order to diagnose a problem, you have to first have knowledge of that problem, which would be becoming aware that the problem exists. Like in the situation of my painting, you have this figure pointing its hand towards the cloud. That's it acknowledging that there's a problem. Oh, there's a rainstorm coming. The next frame, I have this, they're scratching their head, and then there's a light bulb inside their head. That means something fired within their processing of their head, and they got an idea. Boom. And so then in this last frame, I'm going to have the person standing in this cave, which is the whole, there's going to be just like a massive cloud and storm, over this hill or whatever, wherever the cave is. And so that's, solving the problem. Hey, I see a storm coming. I'm going to go inside shelter to shelter myself from this storm. And so, but in order to solve a problem, you have to diagnose that there is one to begin with. And in natural law, if we're talking about problem solving, one of the biggest problems we have right now is people's behavior, right? And so they, the problem is people's behavior isn't in line with the desired results of what they want the outcome to be. Like before I did that painting with the figure that has the heart-shaped brain with the crown on it. That figure is representing the condition, the behavioral condition, which is, understanding the moral objectivity of morality so that you can live in a right way. And you are the master of your actions. That's why the crown is there, to represent that internal monarchy of you being a master of your thoughts and actions. And so, but those thoughts and actions have to be coming from a place of love. They can't be coming from a place of fear or greed or ego, because that's what's causing the problems we face today.
Exactly.
And so that's part of the whole diagnosis is,
Right.
dia, through, through, by which, gnosis, so knowledge.
Right. Right. I mean, yeah, you'd have to, I mean, like, say, for example, that I noticed Stefan also wrote another book called Strategies of Ancient China or something like that. And in there, it's basically people figuring out how to screw over other people. That's basically what it is. And I could barely handle it, honestly. I'm like, I don't want to fucking read this shit. But that's pretty much, I mean, I think some people might think that that's like a huge find, like to try to figure, it's basically based on like the art of war or whatever, how to get over on other people would be, if you could do that these days, great. Then you might be able to, be fine. but like, what, why?
But that's not moral necessarily.
Exactly, it's totally
Knowing
immoral.
how to get over on someone, yeah, just because it can be
It's
done doesn't mean it's
completely,
moral.
it's not moral. Well, that's
And
my
that's where the
point.
problem is. People
That's
are
the
like,
problem.
oh,
That's why you wouldn't see that there's a
capitalism.
problem right now. You could easily think that right now everything's fine if you're immoral.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
if you understand, love thy brother as thyself, and looking at how, trash all over the road and all over the, animals going extinct, and filthy pollution in the sky, and no songbirds and
And
stuff like
people
that,
obsessed
you
with
might say,
devices that are killing them,
you might
you
say to
know?
yourself, shit, there's something wrong here. But you'd have to, have a moral uh thing, some kind of moral
Compass, yeah.
something within yourself that would know that there was something not right about the way, and no, make you think, gee, is the world going to be here when my kids grow up like the way it is right now? Like, how is this sustainable? Not like in terms
Exactly.
of, this lie of the global warming thing, which is going to, make go for pure fascism, but in terms of how we treat each other on a daily basis, and how we think about each other, and how we, um, think of each other as expendable, or that we should be in service, like we think that other people should be in service to us or whatever. That
Right.
sort of immorality, that's not moral. Like,
No,
it's not moral to think that, that we human beings have the right to determine whether other human beings live or die. That's just like, what gives us that right. And just like that same line of thinking is what gives us the idea that we think it's okay to experiment on, um, animals,
animals.
or you know go to war, like go start bombing some other country. I mean, that whole thing, the bombing of the Ukraine, to me, is just, it's part of the globalist psyop thing. I don't think there's anything going on with that. I don't think there's nothing really. That's only there to scare the shit out of people and make them beg for, more rulers or something like that. Um, but the immorality of the fact that people actually think that that's the solution, that it's okay to do that, to take another life. This
Yeah,
kind of thing is, you'd have to be able to, say, gee, there's something wrong here. Something's not right here.
yeah,
Huh. Maybe I should take a look at it. So,
exactly. Well, and it's like you were saying earlier, it's like, oh, like these leaders are giving these orders, but it's really on the people who are following the orders hands. The blood's really on their hands too, because
yes.
they're the ones that are actually taking the action that's causing loss of life,
Yeah.
you
How could
know.
how can somebody get in their fucking airplane and go and drop a bomb on another country? Like,
I mean,
what
to
is
me, it's like,
how can you justify that?
it's like I would not, like, if someone's like, go over there and kill that, like, here, take this gun and go over there and kill that innocent person. I'm not going to do it because I'm going to exercise conscience. I'm going to be like, hey, look, that person, why does he have to die? There's no reason for these people to die, you know? Oh,
No,
because you don't like the way they're acting, or you don't like that they're not under your control. So now we have to like force them to be under your control, but it's like these people aren't exercising that conscience because they're not real. They're just like mindless lemmings that are like, just they'll do whatever they're told. That's why we call them order followers.
right.
But it's like if they exercise, I always have this image in my mind of like the problem to war would be when all the soldiers just say no. The orders
Oh, you
come
mean the
in, hey,
answer to more?
hey, you guys, you got to go kill these people. No, we're not doing it. We're going to take our weapons off. We're going to, you know, put our helmets down, and we're not going to do what you said we're supposed to do. You know, that's what needs to happen, but it's not happening because these people are so like have had so much trauma abuse taken to them that this totally wipe their conscience right out of their heads, so they don't even realize that they're, you know, basically just the tool of an evil psychopath, which maybe they joined for good reasons, but the boot camp trauma abuse turned them into something else. They're not the same person as when that idealist young person that joined, you know. They got duped into thinking they were joining something good that was going to help, but no. Now all they have to do is follow the orders to force people to do what the fascist dictators want them to do.
Yeah, interesting that you should say they got duped. I mean,
They
isn't that
did.
word, well, the word duped, doesn't that mean duplicated? So there, that goes back to
Yeah, they got
that being,
duplicated into the psychopaths that are
well, I
there.
mean, no, like a copy, like a cop. A cop is a copy of its original. It's not an authentic creation. It's a dupe.
No. Yeah, it's a
So it's not
duplicate
that
of a
basic. So
psychopath.
basically, what that means is that when you do that, you abdicate moral responsibility and give it over to someone else, which is a violation of natural law. You can't. You're going to pay a huge consequence for that.
You know, or maybe duped is the wrong word. Well, it is the right word, because they're duplicating people into psychopaths. They have a model. They're like, okay, here's the model psychopath that we want to change these people into. Here's the trauma abuse training they go through in order to be duplicated into this model. But the trick is, the person going in is probably a good-hearted person with a conscience who sees problems in the world, and they think authority is the joining the authority is the way to solve these problems. Well, that was a trick. They were tricked into that, because authority itself is the problem. So they're basically joining the problem instead of being a solution themselves by standing up to that authority.
Right. I mean, and I'm sure they were promised something like an education or something like that.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, the authority has lots of power, so they're like, oh, we can give you an education.
Yeah, it's just pure Satanism. It's pure fucking Satanism.
You know, oh yeah, we'll give you a free education
Yeah, it's free.
if you make it through the trauma that we're gonna.
I mean, just think like the Ukraine, like they shut their borders, right? So that now that they're releasing the women and children, but they're forcing the men to fight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's
Yeah.
fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's situations too where there are people that go all the way through boot camp and then they still have conscience, and they get put out on the fields. And then there's people that are complete psychopaths who are there to watch them. And they're there to, so any soldier that's not running to attack the other side, if they're acting like they don't want to go fight, or they're coming back towards us saying, hey, no, I don't want to fight, I'm coming this way, you guys go do the fighting. Well, there's psychopathic soldiers trained to kill those soldiers. Oh, kill that coward, he doesn't want to fight, kill him. He's not running into the war, he doesn't deserve to live, so let's gun him down. That's the kind of psychopathic training that goes on, you know, in these warmongers. you know. It's scary to think about, but doesn't make it any less true, you know. Just because something's scary doesn't make it false. So I'm making a big gray cloud here. Cover up my cave.
Yeah, I'm deciding what I'm gonna do here. So that's what I'm staring at this thing, trying to figure out
Yeah, no worries.
how what I'm gonna do. Because I am gonna use paper clay on here, but I haven't decided how exactly I'm gonna do it yet. So
Yeah, that's part of the process, is thinking about it. What's going to convey that message, or what shapes are going to help reinforce what you already have there in the painting that you're attaching. Lots of things to consider. Didn't mix myself enough of this color of paint. It's all right. Just trying to use the paint I have on here without getting any more out. Sometimes that goes well, sometimes it doesn't.
well, that's pretty much the trivium right there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You're talking in my painting or just what I
You're
just said?
painting, yeah, you're painting.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it definitely is. But yeah, the trivium literally is just a 3-road path, or a 3-road route path, you know, to understanding. You know, the first step is that, you know, input of knowledge, or whatever, you know, input of whatever your surroundings are feeding back to you as a potential problem, and then processing all the different solutions, and, you know, kind of predicting, well, if I do this, this might happen, so maybe I shouldn't do that. If I do this, this will happen, and that's a good thing, so maybe I should do that. And then the final step is that action, taking that action to rectify that problem. Have a problem. Maybe you don't hear it anyways in the background here. I'm gonna have to come finish. I'm starting all these paintings, but I'm not finishing any of them. That's gonna be a problem.
Well, maybe not. I mean, maybe you'll just finish them one time. Maybe you'll just decide to finish them.
I'll finish them. I have the time to do it. I just have been slacking off. I'll finish them. And I'll record myself finishing them too, so I can add it to some of the video or whatever. Do another like time lapse kind of like thing. so people can see the whole creation process unfold.
Yeah, actually, I had that problem with the trying to figure out how to film myself, and I was using that contraption with the wires with my phone. And then
Oh yeah.
I actually just got a sort of intuitive brainstorm to take this little webcam thing that I have, like it's a little USB webcam, and just hang it on
Oh
the
yeah.
shade. I have one of
Oh,
those,
yeah, that works.
shades. I just hang it on the shade, and now I don't even have to go buy a tripod. That's what the one thing
Perfect.
I was going to say about me. I always challenge myself to not spend any money when I make art.
Yeah,
Spend
that's good.
the least amount possible. I mean, in this
Yeah.
case, I've had to go to Home Depot and buy supplies, but I'd rather buy stuff from Home Depot, honestly, than from the art supply store, because I'm really irked at this point by how many things you can buy. And it just pisses, like, I mean, when I was painting, I had to stretch my own canvases
Oh
and,
yeah.
gesso 'em myself and everything. And, then I just got aggravated with like how much trash I would see on the street. And I was like, I should be making art out of this trash.
Right.
That's how I feel about it now. And that's what I am doing. Using junk mail and this cardboard. And I mean, I even was tempted, if you can believe it, to buy some friggin' flat cardboard from Home Depot. But I was like, no way, no way. I'm not going to do it. That's not going to
Right.
happen, because that would be totally against my thing. So
For sure.
yeah, that's my challenge. I challenge myself to try to spend
Well, that's
barely
one of the
anything.
cool things about being an artist is you can take something that was trash and turn it in something that's actually has value to people that maybe you'll sell in the future. And even if you don't sell it, it might be a beautiful thing that people will look at and be like, oh, that is pretty, or whoa, that is cool, or whatever. But then it's like, oh yeah, that used to be trash, and now it's something beautiful. There's something cool about that. There's something.
Because I mean, it's just part of my feeling about this whole situation that we're in, where we just throw stuff away all the time. And I just think about how, like native people just used every part of the animal,
Mhm.
and they just had respect for the earth and for
Well, it's like
the resources of the earth.
they would like make quality stuff too. Like, hey, look, I'm gonna make this, and it's gonna last me my whole lifetime, or whatever. And now we have companies that have planned, what do they call that?
Planned
Planned
obsolescence.
obsolescence, where they're like, oh, let's make this product so it only lasts X amount of years, because if we make it last for someone's whole life, then we're going to be out of business, because no one's going to buy those products anymore, because once everyone has it all, then it's going to last them forever, so they'll never have to buy it again. That's a bad business plan. So we end up with, what do we end up with because of that? Lots of waste, lots of making the same thing over and over and over again. Would be better in my eyes to just make something to last forever, and then instead of going out of business, just make something else. Change the plans. Like, all right, we solved the huge problem that people of planet Earth are having by this product that we released. We made it super solid, so it's going to last everyone forever. They'll never have to replace it. And now we can move on to solving another problem, instead of being like, oh no, now we're out of business because we can't sell any more of these because everyone has them, and they're too reliable and they're not going to break. Well, maybe it'd be better to just move on to something else, instead of, it's kind of like the definition of insanity. We just keep making the same thing over and over again, so it can break and make the same thing again. So it can break so we can make the same thing again. It's just like being stuck in like a hamster wheel.
Yeah, that is true. That is exactly right. That's exactly right. Because because that's the total scarcity mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And if they did, respect resources and made one product, then you'd get some intuitive thought to make something else,
Yeah,
something
you'd be
totally
like, all right, the washing machine. Everyone has washing machines. The problem of cleaning clothes is solved. Let's make those things last forever, so we can move on to another problem.
Yeah, I mean, that would be really great if only we thought that way. That would be thinking in
Well, be thinking in the way of
mentality.
abundance.
Abundance mentality.
Like, oh, there's always going to be a problem. No matter how many problems we solve, there's always going to be another problem. Something's going to happen, the climate or whatever, who knows what's going to happen, but there's always going to be another problem. And even if, like, let's say climate change, so a lot of science is pointing to that humans aren't causing climate change. Well, that doesn't mean go out and pollute and litter more, that just means, hey, maybe we're not the ones causing it, but that doesn't mean that we need to like pollute more. That should mean that, hey, look, this is our house. We live on this planet. We need to keep it clean so we can continue living on it, So we want to stay here instead of exploiting it,
Right, exactly. That's another
maybe
idea.
climate change may not actually be caused by humans, but that doesn't mean we to continue being irresponsible, because at a certain point, maybe it would, and maybe we are, I think there is a little bit that we are, we're not, there's a lot of science points that we're not the ones responsible for the climate change we're having right now. But some science is pointing to that we are actually slightly accelerating the warming, it's part of the Earth's natural cycle to get really warm and really cold. And we just happen to be on the really warm side of things right now. But at the same time, there's things as humans we can do to either, help that cycle along or, whatever. Or it's just kind of common sense. Like, hey, look, don't poop where you live,
Right, but I think this was started out with a conversation about behavioral consequence. That's
Yeah,
what
it is.
we were talking about behavioral consequence.
Yeah, it is.
And thinking about like, is it moral to poop where you live?
No.
Is it going to bring like good things to you if you smear shit all over your kitchen sink and leave it there? Is that a
No,
good idea?
probably
Well,
not.
that's exactly what we're doing,
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so, but and it's not maybe it's not it's it's we're being directed to do that by an elite group, but the fact is that people are taking those orders
Yeah,
and
following it.
pressing the button in the airplane. The pilot is pressing the button in the airplane that releases the chemtrail.
Right. Exactly.
Not questioning it, not walking outside after when they're off their shift and looking up in the sky and saying, huh, am I doing that while I'm flying? When I press that button, is that's what's making those X's in the sky that's causing that haze? Am I
Yeah.
contributing to that? I mean, not even looking up in the sky and seeing that, people telling themselves to this day that that's condensation. It's just absolute crap. And and then just telling themselves, oh well, I can't stop that from happening, so I'm just going to ignore it.
Right.
And that goes back to that ignoring thing, that
Yeah.
ignorance.
Yeah.
Ignorance versus nescience. And I think maybe we didn't reiterate that the fact is that ignorance is a violation of natural law. Ignoring
is.
something that's going on is a violation of natural law.
Well, you have culpability, moral culpability when you ignore something versus if it's something that's hidden from you and you have no knowledge of it, which would be nescience, then there's no moral culpability, because if it's completely hidden from you, how are you supposed to know about it? You can't. There's no way. It's impossible.
Yeah,
Other than like coming, unless you do like a lot of like data collection and, trial and error kind of stuff to come to that understanding.
Or unless you have an intuitive thought that comes to you in a dream or something that you recognize, oh my goodness, I need to look under this rock and see what's going on here.
Right. Yeah.
That's the
And
only
that
way
comes from listening to that intuition, or sometimes even just listening to that conscience, something fishy is going on here. Like the thing I'm about to do is giving me an unsettling feeling in my stomach. Well, maybe you should stop doing it then.
Yeah,
that would
right?
be called exercising conscience.
Yeah, maybe most people don't know that. That's a good point that you should make, that when you have an uneasy feeling in your stomach, don't move forward.
Yeah. Listen to that feeling and be like, why is this uneasy? Well, probably because it's immoral.
Yeah, because what
at some level.
Right, that what basically he's saying is that everyone has a conscience. Everyone deep down within every person is that moral compass, whether it has
Definitely.
been obscured by trauma or
rationalization,
desire for wealth or whatever. It's there. And if you don't listen to it, you're going to pay a price for that. That
for sure.
Law of behavioral consequence will be enacted, and
Yeah.
you will be asking yourself, and I'm speaking out
And
of
sometimes
experience. You'll be asking yourself, why me? Why does my life suck? Why am I always in the wrong place at the wrong time? Well, get out of the way. Get out of the way and stop enacting the law of behavioral consequence.
Well, sometimes it doesn't directly come back on you, because sometimes it's judged collectively too, because multiple people are doing bad things or harming others, and so then all of a sudden authority is justified in the minds of other people, and then now that authority has been justified, now whether you're a good person or you're a bad person, you're under the blanket of authority. So it can be like a collective like thing, where just the fact that there's authority is a result of people misbehaving and having bad um, behavior, and so it's affecting everyone, not just them or their families, and sometimes, that's what's kind of confusing about it. And that's why sometimes it looks like some of these mean people are getting away with all these atrocities, but really they've got levels of guilt built with inside of them that you're not seeing, or there's at a soul level, there's something going on with them,
No, that's like when you can't compare your outside, your insides to other people's outsides.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because you have no idea what's going on with them inside. They could put on a great front, that's been proven from this ridiculous social media experiment that
Mhm.
you never know what's going on with people. You don't know people. You can't know people if you just only know them online. You can
No,
hide so much. You can hide so much online.
for
It's
sure.
incredible. It's incredible.
Oh yeah, online is like a mask. It's like putting, like when you get online and start this online profile, that's just the mask, you know. It's not who you truly are. It's almost like marketing, you know. So like some of these companies, they market, oh, look at all the problems this device is gonna um, solve in your life, but little do you know, it's also slowly killing you by the microwave frequencies and radiation that it's emitting as you're using it, you know. And so, but they're not like putting that on the commercial, like get the brand new iPhone, you know. They're showing you all the cool stuff that it can do, not the harmful radiation that's coming off of it, you know. They're showing you how you can, if you get lost, it can help you find your directions, or they're showing you all this other stuff, that cool stuff that can do, but they're not telling you that you have to read the small print to find out that there's actual radiation poisoning happening. You know.
Yeah. Yes. Yep. I I'm not looking forward to upgrading my phone, let me tell you.
And the sad thing is too, is this like, even if you don't update your phone, you're still getting the radiation poisoning just from the towers themselves.
Oh, right, and from the Wi-Fi box and all that.
Oh yeah.
It's interesting. I'll tell you, my eyes have been really hurting me for a long time. Like I've just been feeling like my eyes were just like drying up inside the socket, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And and I was talking to my chiropractor's wife, and she told me she puts aloe vera juice in her eyes,
Oh yeah,
and I started doing it, and my eyes feel 1,000 times better now. Just throwing that out there. My eyes feel, yeah,
that's great.
yeah, aloe vera juice that I got at Natural Grocers. Like
Mm-hmm.
I got the smaller bottle just to see how I felt about it. Um, it's like 32 ounces or something like that for $10. And God, my eyes feel so much better.
You can also, like, if you have like heartburn, you can take that aloe vera juice will work too, but they have this fillet stuff. It's kind of like goopy, and you can drink that stuff and it'll get rid of your heartburn.
That's good. Yeah, usually I use apple cider vinegar for that, but I could try that
Well,
too.
that will help too. But yeah,
But
no, like
yeah, I
that.
don't know. I don't know why I just told you that, but I figured it just popped into my head, so I could put it out there as a problem solver.
Solution.
I
Oh
mean, who
yeah, for
knows?
sure.
I mean, there's so much going on. There's so much going on at this point. I'm not sure. Like I don't know exactly how to think about anything anymore. Um, I just remember when I worked in a frame shop a long time ago, it was all about preserving artwork so that it could last for 500 years or something like that. So you
Oh
would
yeah.
spend you'd have an acid-free back, you'd have an acid-free mat, maybe a double acid-free mat. Then you'd put spacers between the glass and the mat,
Oh yeah.
and then you'd have like a ultraviolet blocking glass
Mm-hmm.
for and I mean, it's like,
Oh yeah.
wow, this artwork's going to last longer than humanity is going to last.
Right.
So I basically said, you know what, this is crap, this is bullshit. I'm just going to make art out of crap, out of trash. and,
Right.
and sort of a screw you to that idea, because it's like, well, as long as we're living the way that we're living, I'm going to just make artwork out of trash, because it's not going to matter anyway. I don't need my
Right.
artwork to last 500 years. If we keep going the way we're going,
We ain't gonna be here for 500 years.
We're not going to be here for much longer.
The
So
universe is gonna make us go extinct because the universe likes things that reduce entropy, not cause more entropy.
oh, is that true?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, that's too bad to hear. That's
Yeah.
too bad. So another,
Well,
oh,
that's
so
why we're in a big moment of choice right now, humanity, because, and this is from actual science that people have studied and researched. They're like, yeah, like all things are pointing to the universe likes things that reduce entropy, and it doesn't really like keeping things around that cause more entropy.
okay.
Looking big picture wise. Yeah. I guess we're past 8 o'clock now anyways, so
Oh, we are. We're 11 minutes after 8. Wow.
yeah. I figured we kind of got a little bit of a late start, so I figured, doesn't hurt to go over a little bit, but so I've got this piece here, my problem solving piece. I think it conveys the message.
I like it. I do like it. I like it.
I was like, I'm trying to like move past like, oh, this, like the figures have to be perfect, and like, no, it just has to like represent that there's a figure there. It doesn't have to be this perfect thing, It's this the idea that's more important than the perfection of the piece,
Well, right. I mean, you've proven that you know how to paint from life, but you didn't get a model out here so that you could paint like a visionary surrealist painting of this. You're using your imagination to
Yeah.
represent your idea.
Mhm.
So that's what we are encouraging people to do, is to use their imagination to learn how to understand the laws of nature so that you can utilize them regardless of whether you're painting realistically or not.
Mhm.
You still can see that there's in the first piece there's a light source that is apparently above the painting. It's more like where you're sitting,
Mhm.
and then the light source is still the same in the second piece, and then the third piece, the light source is now the lightning.
Mhm.
So you learned that from your observation of nature when you draw from
Oh yeah,
life.
for
So
sure.
you can just use your imagination to make a painting that's representational of an idea, but you don't have to make it super realistic as long as you
Right,
abide by certain laws.
for sure. Definitely.
And I think it's pretty cool myself. I think it's very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just trying to figure out a way to take something that's been verbalized in a written language and make it into like an imagery that's understandable. So, yeah, pretty good. I think so. Let's see here. I'm going to check on what we're doing next week so we can let people know. Where's that document at? So yeah, the next one, truth versus perception. That'll be a
Woohoo!
fun one.
I think that's exactly what Jeff was talking about.
Yeah.
That's
Are
like
you
the difference.
believing a perception, or are you believing an actual truth?
Yeah, objective versus subjective truth.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's confusing too, because sometimes there are half truths, right? Because of the polarity of things. And so sometimes they're pushing one side of the polarity as the absolute truth when actually, it's not. There's actually nuanced in-betweens that are, like temperature, having, a scale from cold to hot, lots of other, it's not everything. There are objective truths for sure, where something is beyond a shadow of a doubt, true or false, but sometimes they try to trick us with the polarities and trick us into thinking one side of the polarity is actually true, where actually probably, we'll get into this more in depth throughout our presentations as far as, finding that center, which is usually the truth. So yeah,
That'll be cool.
if you're interested in joining the conversation, go to drawingnaturein.com and click on the button for our free consultation, and we will have a conversation with you and find out if you can join us here. And then also, if you're wanting to learn how to create and start your own story through your artwork, we also have classes that can teach you that as well. So that being said, we will see you next week for another edition of Drawing Nature In, which hopefully will be streaming on YouTube again next week, or Twitch, or both. So we will see you then.
See you later.
Sounds good. Talk to you later, Joanna.
Bye.